Major Cider. Calling Major Cider. This is O.R.C.A. We are letting you know that you're going to be late. You'd better get hurry on, or else the captain's going to find out that you took his fighter.
Yeah, I'm on my way. And don't tell Captain S I took his fighter. Yeah, we're going to work on that intro. Don't worry. It's going to have a lot more to go on with it, as well as more scenes and things like that. I found this neat package to be able to make it look like I'm on the space. I mean, I really am on the space station right now. Absolutely. And I have great news. Amazon is going to be making a Yakuza series, live action, by the way. And I know who's going to love to talk about this. That would be Miss Nerdigans. Welcome aboard.
Hi. Zeno says hi to the chat. Apparently, he's becoming famous on Twitter, according to like several people.
A cat famous on the internet? You don't say.
Yeah. Apparently, now I feel like I got to get him some costumes and have him cosplay.
Is that a thing? Do people do that?
Yeah, people do. I actually found Naruto and One Piece and Demon Slayer costumes on Amazon.
For cats?
Yeah, for cats.
Okay. Like I get it for like,
the dogs, they have them too, but dogs, yeah, I saw them for cats too. I was like
the Shiba dogs, Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I saw them for kitties too. So I'm like, okay, at some point I will get them. And he will be a Ninja Kitty and maybe a Yakuza Kitty at some point.
Yeah, exactly. Well, tattoos on the back are required for that, and he doesn't look old enough for it. So,
Well, he can have it.
dragon tattoo on the back of the cat.
Yeah.
But so Amazon's going to make a live action Yakuza series, and it is going to be in Japanese because they've tapped the Kamen Rider Drive star Kiryu Kazuma to play. To play Kiryu Kazuma, and so this is great news, honestly, because usually the Amazon Japanese productions are pretty well done. Black Sun was fantastic. Kamen Rider Black Sun was fantastic.
Oh, I didn't know
Um,
Kamen Rider Black Sun was Amazon Prime.
Yep, that was in Amazon. Yep, yeah,
Oh,
they did it.
Amazon Prime Japan specifically, because I
Yep.
know, because from what I know is that the streaming wars are big in Japan right now because you got Prime, Netflix, and Disney fighting over there, fighting
Yep.
it out. So I guess Amazon Prime is really kicking it up with the live action more so than the anime.
Well, and again, like, we're looking at this from this perspective of Americans, right? And
Yeah,
so we have a different idea about entertainment than the Japanese do. And that's why I appreciate Black Sun, is because it's not done to American standards. Even though
yeah,
Amazon's involved, it's not an American story. It even references Japanese politics from the 70s, okay? So if
yeah.
you don't have Japanese history or you don't live there, you're not going to know like 30% of what's happening in that series.
Yeah.
So but that's really good news, though. On the knowing what's happening, though, that's really good news that we're going to get a live action Japanese Yakuza series. I can bet
Yeah,
that
because
it's going
it's
to be
not an
hilarious.
Americanized. Yeah, it's not an Americanized situation like with what's happening with Kakiguri. Even though there's like 3 Kakiguri Japanese live actions in Japan that are actually pretty decent, and I think they're all on Netflix too, if I remember correctly.
Well, and that's just it. Is that you have some good Japanese shows that are coming over here. Like Korea currently dominates what Netflix is importing for live action stuff. But the
Yep.
stuff that does come from Japan that's live action is usually aces. I haven't seen anything come out with like a really gross political tilt to it.
No, like I know and Spencer will tell you this too because I've got him hooked on it. All 3 Kingdom live action adaptations are on Netflix and they're really good. If you want to see the gold standard for live action, watch Kingdom. You will see and that's because and it's better than the anime for the most part. And that's because the mangaka is actually writing the script, co-writing the script with the script writer of the One Piece anime movies. So if you like the One Piece anime movies, you will like it. You will like it. And the director and the scriptwriter actually worked together on quite a few live action adaptations, like Golden Kamuy. They worked together on, and the Golden Kamuy mangaka co-wrote the script as well for that too. And the director is actually doing the Boku no Hero Academia live action adaptation. That's why, like, when people are flipping out about it, I'm like, I'm not as worried because of that. I don't think the scriptwriter is going to be there, which that's the only thing I'm kind of worried about. But like the director, I trust him. And he actually worked on Bleach's live action adaptation, which is on Netflix too.
Right.
So,
And so
yeah.
in the American way, the director can usually boss the screenwriter around. So you've got a good hope that at least the director will not let something terrible get through.
Happened to Boku no Hero Academia.
Yeah.
But yeah, seeing that Yakuza is in the Japanese hands, I think everyone should feel a lot better about it. Because like before, when I first saw it, I was like, I don't know.
So if you guys don't know, the Yakuza games are not like a Yakuza simulator. They are not like the Mafia games. They are not like Saints Row, even, the extreme way. It is a somewhat comedic exploration of the Yakuza, but you are Mafia involved. You do have to carry out hits like this, but there's also karaoke and dancing and rhythm games in the middle of it as well. So it doesn't take itself seriously. It's not trying to make you appreciate the Yakuza's brutality. It's just trying to entertain you with the culture of the Yakuza pushed to the extreme.
And that's why it will work as a live action. adaptation, because Japanese live action productions usually are very, very cheesy.
Yes. And this guy is especially good at it. Drive has eight movies, by the way. This is a children's series, by the way. But when you think children's series, you think Blue's Clues. When the Japanese think children's series, they think of like gunfights and children being blown up by explosives and dinosaurs eating men in half. That's children's entertainment in Japan. And so this guy in Drive, absolutely great body actor as well. Like he gets the physical comedy that's necessary to do the Kiryu's character in the game. So I have absolute faith in this. I think anybody, even if you're not a Yakuza game fan, you are going to enjoy this series, provided you're not turned off by subtitles.
That frustrates me so much when people are just like, they just want their dub and just don't want to read.
Nerd Games, we're 20 years into teaching kids not to read and play video games instead. So what do we expect, right?
Well, some people still, I've seen more people, maybe this is because of, the community I am in. I've seen more people just so frustrated with English dubs now that they've just stopped using English dub period and just have switched to the Japanese because they've noticed how much better it is in Japanese. Some I know have actually switched to like Spanish or French dubs as well because it just sounds so much better.
And so and this is the other thing too, right? Is that for people like me who grew up with the dub on Dragon Ball Z and grew up with the dub on
like we both did, but yeah.
On Big O, right? Shows like Big O and stuff. It's tough going to the Japanese version because the Japanese don't view voice acting the same as Americans. A deep voice in the West gives you authority. In Japan, it's usually a comedic use. When someone has a deep voice, they are a funny character. When someone has a high-pitched voice, they are usually the hero. And so this, especially men. And so this is the difference when you go and listen to Goku. He's played by a woman. So immediately you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm hearing feminine tones coming out of a Super Saiyan. What? And then you get into seeing like My Hero Academia and All Might. He sounds like me. All Might sounds like me. He doesn't talk like me, but he's like my tone.
Yeah.
And that's it takes me out of the story so much. But other than that, like, it's great. You can feel the passion. When Vegeta's voice actor transforms...
Too. He's so nice.
When he transforms into the royal blue version in the final hours of the Tournament of Power, you feel that guy's energy. Like, he took the Super Saiyan 3 transformation as a challenge. And so when Vegeta goes royal blue, it is almost as, like, paint peeling off the walls intense. It's crazy.
So good. Like it took me, I'm going to say this, it did take me a little bit to get used to subs. Like for Sailor Moon, for example, because I grew up listening to the Deke dub and I love that dub. I can't with the Viz dub. That Viz dub is just horrible. But like, it took me a minute to get into the Crystal dub the sub. But then once I like watched the first episode, I just couldn't go back. The Sailor Moon sub is so good. Like you could tell there's a huge difference between like the sub and the dub.
Now since we're over here, right, I want to bring this up, right? So guys ladies and gentlemen, rather, not just guys. I know we've got Leslie out there and other ladies. So check this out. I did not know this was a thing until a week ago. Apparently it wasn't a thing until a week ago. Shout Factory has put out a totally dedicated YouTube channel with multiple live streams going that loop tokusatsu and Japanese-produced entertainment shows that feature special effects. Now, I'm not kidding. You have Reboot here. It's free to watch.
I've seen this channel on Pluto TV. That it's been on Pluto TV for like I want to say at least a year now, and they have Godzilla, they have Ultraman, they have Sentai. I know Digimon Try is on one of the anime channels
right here.
Specifically, not on the Tokusatsu channel, but it's on the anime channels. I just can't remember which one. But yeah, it's on there. and just I didn't know it had a YouTube channel. But something I have heard through the grapevine is I don't know if you've heard about the One Piece live stream that they have in Japan.
Yeah.
I've been hearing there's a One Piece YouTube channel coming, so
Yes.
I have to wonder if the live stream is coming for One Piece as well. I know the One Piece channel has been on Pluto TV for ever since Pluto TV launched. So that, and if it does come here, if it on YouTube, it's going to probably be sub only. That's my guess.
And it is. These are all in Japanese with real subtitles, not fan made, not made up ones, not forced dubbed ones. By the way, nobody's talking about gender and pronouns in any of this.
Yeah.
And this is the thing I wanted to point out about this channel. You can also watch Alf in Japanese. That's like a fever dream, by the way. If you want to know what doing drugs is like.
I didn't notice that Alf was there too. Yeah, that's not on Pluto TV either.
If you ever want to know what like doing hard drugs is like, watch Alf in Japanese. It is just otherworldly listening to Japanese come out of those characters. But so Tokusatsu, these are all live, by the way. I can't show you anything. Will be immediately taken down if I open up any one of these. But these are live right now, meaning the episode you tune in could be episode 51.
Yep.
But it'll cycle back around to 1 in a couple days, depending on how long the series is. We've got all sorts of Ultraman are on here. But here's the one I want to attract your attention to, is that they have been showing so much Sentai on here that I think it's finally breaking the MMPR spell. I think people are finally figuring out, like, there's more Power Rangers. I didn't know that. These ones are Japanese, though.
I've been seeing that a lot more on Twitter, that like a lot of the people that I've been following have been getting into Sentai. And that I think was before Ranger Reject came out too. But I think Ranger Reject is part of it as well. But yeah, I started getting into more Sentai because of Ranger Reject. And that was when Ranger Reject started its serialization a few years ago.
Well, you got a 24/7 Godzilla and Friends channel, meaning that's not just Godzilla. I think Gamera also appears on this channel as well.
Yeah, speaking of Godzilla, they started a Godzilla channel on Pluto TV as well. So you do have a Godzilla channel there now.
So I also have, you see this here, they have a Sunny Chiba Movies channel.
I didn't see that.
So if you don't know, most famously in the West, Sunny Chiba is the swordsman from Kill Bill. Volume 2, I believe, when the bride goes and gets the sword made in Japan. So he's not just important in that way, but he's also a celebrated and storied legendary martial arts actor in Japan. This guy, for a time, was Stallone, Schwarzenegger, and Bruce Willis all wrapped up into one guy that could hurl a sword almost the whole way down a football field. Like, it's crazy watching this guy go.
Oh, I almost forgot. There's like a new Ultraman that is going to be screened in theaters that I saw, but I can't remember who tweeted about it. But like one of the producers tweeted about it, and it was only, and the screen time for it, or you know, the screening for it, it's so short, and it was shorter than the previous Ultraman film, and I was so shocked by this because yeah, anime theatrical releases have been having short, theatrical runs, but this was like even shorter than those. I couldn't believe it.
Yep. Yeah, and furthermore, it's just I think shows like Ultraman and stuff like that don't get a fair shake because of how cheesy they are on the surface. People just don't. The West, in particular, does not want to give it any air because it's just some weird guy in a rubber suit fighting another guy in a rubber suit.
They underestimate Ultraman. I mean, like, and I want to say this in regards to Haikyuu. Haikyuu barely got marketing and showings, and it still made $3.5 million. Imagine if it got more marketing, popcorn buckets, all that stuff. It probably would have destroyed the box office. It's insane on how horribly the anime movies are getting treated. We've talked about this almost every week. You just have to wonder, do these theaters want to make money? Are they willing to go out of business because of this?
Well, I have to ask, though, like, really, what is the logic here? Because I don't understand it personally. Like when we were growing up, we had the Digimon movie come
Yeah,
in.
we had Pokemon, the first and the second and
Right.
third movie in theaters.
And Howl's was in the theaters, wasn't it? I want to say
Yeah, I
that
think
Howl's got a theater release.
Spirited Away and Howl's Moving Castle
Yeah.
were both in theaters.
Yeah, so it's what happened? Why are we now? Is it because there's boobs in anime deliberately now? It's not just a
I have
joke?
no idea. I mean, this is just so bizarre. I mean, Demon Slayer, I think, was the last one that had a really long theatrical run and destroyed the bot. And it had somewhat had marketing. It didn't have as much as I didn't have that much that I know of.
So is this the American side that's trying to snuff this out, or is it just
I
like
don't
the theater's
know.
not taking anime seriously?
I think part of it is what I just keep remembering what freaking Perini said, that he didn't want to like push the theatrical releases and just wanted to focus on anime fans. But the pre-existing anime fans want to go see these movies, and there's a lot of them. And he also, I don't understand why he just doesn't want to bring in more anime fans and make more money that way either. It's so dumb. So dumb. I don't understand it.
Well,
it really makes no sense.
Red Letter Media touched on this a few days ago about the death of movie theaters in a video that they did.
Anime could save movie theaters. And same with the live actions. Look at what Godzilla did. Godzilla brought people in, put butts in seats, and made how much money in movie theaters? It just, like, I've seen mainstream anime fans. I've talked to mainstream anime fans. They didn't know that Jujutsu Kaisen Zero and Dragon Ball Superhero were out, and they wanted to go see it, and they still somehow went to go see it. It's just, it makes no sense on what they're doing. It's the same thing with the first Slam Dunk. First Slam Dunk, Chris Stuckman said it was probably one of the most beautiful pieces of animation that he has ever seen. And it didn't, and I know so many anime fans that are our age that love the first love Slam Dunk. Probably would have loved to seen it too in theaters. But no, nothing. Almost nothing for it. You want to bank on nostalgia, like Spy Family. It's surprising. I'm still surprised it got a popcorn bucket. I'm surprised One Piece is getting as much marketing as it is. And in regards to like Slam Dunk and like Dragon Ball and stuff like that, that is on Toei. That is all on Toei.
Well, the thing is that people are now comfortable waiting for this stuff to go to streaming. We saw this with Madam Web. Now, of course, we did not see how long people were watching Madam Web for, but it was for a few days at least on Netflix's #1 spot of most viewed, or however it was getting tallied there. And so really, this is the biggest thing, is like Perini is foolish for not pushing to create live events.
Yeah.
So think about how the VTubers have their concerts.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to picture all the memes we've seen of those Mexican fellas and South American fellas watching Dragon Ball and freaking out in football stadiums, soccer stadiums, right? They're all in the soccer stadium and the big Megatron has Goku on it, right? They need to think about combining the VTuber live show with these anime movies so that you don't have to be in a movie theater, but you're all in the same space, enjoying it together, conversing about these things. Because like the movie theater isn't coming back, and I just don't see it. It's too much. There's too much overhead to begin with to go see the movie when you could just wait 2 weeks and it'll be part of your subscription.
You know what they need to do is they need to bring back the drive-in theater. Bring back drive-in theaters. Drive-in theaters are so much fun. Like the last time I went to a drive-in theater, and they should have done, that's what they should have done more so during COVID, is really revive drive-in theaters. Because drive-in theaters, you have your cars, you could just sit in there with your family and have a double feature, and it's cheap. Yep. Double feature for I think it was under $10 or something like that.
Those were the days.
I know. This was back in this was in 2018, I think was the last time I went to one or something like that. But yeah, those are fun. Driving theaters would probably really, if Crunchyroll really, and Sony really pushed and emphasized drive-in theaters and got people in that way, that would really, really, really help.
You know what would look good at a drive-in theater?
What?
The new Naked Gun movie.
Yeah. Oh God, that would be amazing.
But before we get into that, we do have a super chat over here from Alpha Omega for $5. Thank you very much for that, by the way. He says Hollywood's screwing the competition. They always get unfair contracts, and Disney is now trying to gain control of the Japanese side of the anime industry. That's correct. You reported on that, right, Nerdigan?
Yeah, the thing is though, I'm gonna say this about Disney side of the anime industry. From what I've been seeing, and this is in regards to localizations, they've actually been doing a decent job. They've been keeping the pronouns up in there, like they've been keeping "san," and it's pissed off some of the usual suspects. They are like, "Why are you having "san" and like some of the Japanese jokes in there? Why are you not like localizing it to fit like an English speaking audience?" I'm like, what's wrong with that? Like, that's what people want. And this is a Ranger Reject, and I think the other one that they were saying it wasn't the Fable, was the other one. I was like, what's wrong with that? That's what people want. Like, I would say maybe like the only problem I have is maybe it not like the signs and stuff not being consistent. I will agree with them on that. But like having the actual Japanese jokes from the anime, that's what people want.
They make sense. We saw this in that Lovely Complex adaptation where they were trying to make the jokes all zoomery, and they just it was a 90s anime or early 2000s anime they were trying to stuff zoomer jokes into.
Yeah, it didn't make sense. That's what we've seen that's what we've seen Katrina do in and Gushing Over Magical Girls. She was stuffing it. She was trying to change it and add memes in there. It was, oh God. Well, I still have to go through that too.
And so Alpha Omega, this is what you have to look forward to. You have to look forward to this. If Disney's successful taking this over, you have to look for all these adaptions just forcing in new jokes.
I have to wonder though, in regards to that, I have to wonder who's in charge of the localization or like the translations. Because if it is Kodansha, because a lot of these properties are Kodansha, if Kodansha is in charge of the translations for like the subtitles and stuff, I actually trust them a lot more with it. I do. Because Kodansha, something that the Kodansha rep told me a long time ago, this is when I was covering K manga, they said that they are working on putting in a quality control system in place to, make sure that the translations are correct. I trust them a lot more with that than what Viz told me, which was that they have their editors with over 200 years of experience combined. That ain't doing anything. No, they still are adding like really cringy Zoomer slang and memes, and it's so, I can't stand it.
Well, and again, I mean, like this is why they're turning to AI to do this, because you can't trust the American.
That's the thing, though. It's only the English one that's being effective. You don't have this in the Spanish localization. You don't have this happening in the French or the German. It's
the Hindi.
Only the English localization, and that's the thing that's I think people are missing. That's only the English localization that's being addressed, and it's mainly happening in Viz and 7C's localizations. And in the case of anime, Sentai Filmworks localizations and Crunchyroll. Those are the ones that's happening in. And it's only the English ones. Crunchyroll's other, like the French and the Spanish ones, for example, and I think the Germans ones, from what I've heard, they're not having this issue. It's only the English ones that are having this problem. Wow. So AI, you could say AI all you want, but it seems like it's a localization team problem.
Sounds like it to me.
Yeah, the full team, from what I've read in terms of like how localization works and everything, it needs to be like it's the editors, it's the localizers. They need a clean sweep. It needs to just be reformed. Period. It's just a total mess.
Dante has an idea here. Member of the channel, Dante RX says, hashtag the drive-in will never die.
Yes, the drive-in is just not going to die.
Well, what I wanted to bring up about that and why it's tied to your point in my mind is that the drive-in is a more family experience. It's like you were bringing it up in relationship to having a more intimate movie watching experience. It's even more so now today. In the olden days, you had to have like a little radio thing come through the inside of your car or hang on the mirror, so you had to have your window down, stuff like that. Now, You just tune your radio, or your phone has an app that attaches to the screen, so it runs through the Bluetooth in your car.
And
So you
also
have
car stereo
surround sound.
system. Well, car stereo systems are a lot better now too.
Yes. So anime especially loves the sound design today. Today, anime has like peak sound. It's not just the same sound effects that we got in the 90s and early 2000s
Yeah.
anime over and over again. It's so much. Like, I can't tell you how beautiful the beam deflection sound on Aerial Gundam is. I'm not a fan of Witch of Mercury, by the way, but I
Yeah.
love that sound, that boom noise. Oh, it's so good. So good.
But the
But
thing
yeah.
is that you got to wonder now too with the film technology as well. You got to wonder how beautiful it is too
Right.
with the 4K stuff now with that projection technology. Oh, it's got to
And an
be
IMAX
beautiful at
screen,
night. Yeah,
right?
it's got to be beautiful at night to watch that under like a clear night sky. Oh, it probably is gorgeous.
Even with the fog, right? So like the fog will add an ambient lighting thing because almost
Yeah.
every anime now is like RGB mode. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But the thing is, though, I will say this though, with some theaters experience, like with the IMAX or like the what was the other one, like the 4D or whatever experience that theaters have, there is that kind of experience that's great to have, but like it's got to be the right movie for it. It can't be like something stupid like the Marvels. No, like you got to have like a really good film that's worthy of it.
Mm.
You know
Well,
what I mean?
speaking of being worthy, for £5 British, that's right, that's the Queen's money. If only she could still spend it. Aki says here, support anime and manga by purchasing their merch. That's how Japan anime lasts. And
Yeah.
that's the truth. I mean, the American the American animation rather that we miss, things like Teen Titans, the original one, not the, yeah, the
I'm
original one.
sorry. Let me take care of my cat for a second. He's being very
Sure.
fussy. I don't know
No, that's
why.
fine. But so these when you had these original shows like Japanimation is what I called it. It was excuse me, Amerimation. That was my bad. Amerime. It was an attempt to try and clone that. And so people supported it, right? But our corporations rejected that, right? They pushed that away and they were like, no, I don't want this. I want to embrace this mind-bending, woke mind virus stuff. And so this is why the comic book industry is in tatters. This is why you've got all these different corporations like Disney floundering with all of this stuff because the fans were there to support it, but they didn't. The Japanese, however, are a different breed of cat than the US. During the corporate revolution, money became king. So results became mandatory. Essentially, when you were going out as a Japanese business owner in any regard, you had to have a sure win. This is why you see things in anime that get repeated to no end. It's because it works. The shonen genre basically was born out of the success of Dragon Ball. It's hard to find a shonen today that doesn't have a little bit of Goku's DNA running through it. It's one of those things that just happen. If it works, it stays around forever. That's why we keep getting Evangelion movies. And this is exactly to Aki's point, is that if you support it, the Japanese will continue to make it. They're not Sudoku-cidal, if you will. All right. So,
Well, something I do want to say is that something I've noticed, and I read an article about this a while ago, is that a lot more people are buying actual Japanese copies of the manga to support the series because that's what's going to keep the series going. And you don't have to like buy it off of Amazon Japan either. There are actual stores that you can buy it in the US. I don't know if you could buy it on their website for sure or not, but yeah, you can buy actual Japanese manga in the US. But yeah, more people are learning Japanese now because of all the insanity. I know more people are buying like Japanese versions of Blu-rays now, and because the footage
Mikari.
itself looks so much better to what like say like Viz is getting. Oh god, this does not treat their Blu-ray releases very well, sadly. But Sony does. Sony does a pretty decent job with their Blu-rays. Sony's
Well, they
always
made a player for them. I would hope that
well,
they make
yeah,
them
I would
pretty
hope
well.
so.
It's
But
kind
something
of like
I've heard is
McDonald's
that
screwing up a
Disney, I
burger.
don't know if you've heard about this, but Disney is outsourcing their Blu-ray releases in
They're
Japan.
outsourcing everything now.
Well, yeah, I've heard. I don't remember the company's name, but yeah, Disney Japan is outsourcing their Blu-ray releases now,
That
which I
doesn't
thought was
surprise
really
me.
weird.
Well, it doesn't surprise me because Disney right now is learning that they want to get their foothold through control. So by coming in and being the source of their stuff, they can't extend their control into other corporations. So by
Yeah,
becoming a majority customer, they get to tell these Japanese corporations, well, we order 500,000 units from you every year. We would like you to stop publishing things that have big boobs in them. That's what we would like you to stop, or otherwise we're going to take our business away from you. And so this
well, I'm gonna
corporation
let
now
my
has to
cat
make
out
that
because he's
decision.
being such a pain.
Well, good luck. But that's what it is these corporations are being taken over by, regular business practices. This is what Disney has done, really BlackRock has done, and Disney's simply repeating what its parent company, if you will, is doing. Is it goes in and he either becomes a majority stockholder or it becomes a majority customer, and thus it exudes or rather extracts control through that practice of having a majority influence, if you will, over a company. And so that's how they're taking control of Japan. This is how they described it in their article: is that they're not interested in being the source of animation in Japan. They are
No.
interested in taking over all of the sources of Japan slowly.
Well, they're dealing with Sony in that regard because Sony is doing that. But there is that soft. I know people are talking about the software, and I actually in terms of the artist software, I actually my Aniplex insider is working directly on that too. So I know I've heard about it. I can't reveal all the details yet about it. I'm gonna see when everything is closer to being done if I can write more about it and get like an exclusive on it for Bounding. We'll see when it's closer to being done. But here's the thing about it: it's like what I've told you about Manga Plus creators, but it's a little bit different.
Okay.
From what I know is Aniplex Japan is mainly in charge of this program. But it is like Manga Plus creators in a way where like where overseas creators can get their foot in the water.
When she says overseas,
Japanese anime industry,
she's referring to Westerners. This is from
yeah,
Japan's
like
perspective. Yeah.
Westerners. For the record, what Westerners refer to is not just the U.S. It's talking about Europe, and it's also talking about like Southeast Asia. We're talking basically everywhere outside of Japan because they want to bring it. Yeah, they want to bring more animators in because there is an animator shortage right now. It's you could thank Toy Story for that, and that's what the IG vice president said. Like,
and the pay is dismal. These people have to live in dormitories to survive.
Well, there's that, but like because of this is what the IG Productions VP told me, and this was at my first anime convention. What she said was because of Toy Story, it started like this whole thing where animators got into like this idea where they got to get into CGI. Oh. That's what started it all. And that's why you see a lot of CGI in anime now and less hand drawn.
Yeah, it really annoys me. That's why I'm like,
you could thank Toy Story for that, and that's why there's an animator shortage.
When the animation switches between hand drawn or at least 2D and then the cell shaded thing in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie, that just takes me right out of the story, especially when they go into like a full 3D environment because they powered up so much they broke reality. It's like, I get what you're trying to do, Japan, but like kind of dial back the flex, okay? It looks bad.
That's Toei. And I wrote about this for Bounding, is that that was all Toei that wanted to do the all CGI for superhero. The animators did not want to do it. It really would have been cheaper for them to do 2D. Yes. It would have been cheaper. It was way more expensive. It looks like a video game cutscene.
The whole movie looks like a cutscene. I hate it.
Yeah, they did not like it either, and it was a lot harder on the production team to do it.
But you know what I do like? I do like that Aki has become a member. Welcome to the crew. Welcome to the crew. Officially a member of the O.R.C.A crew now. You could become a member too. It's down just below in that join button. Check out the tiers if they're right for you. You can become a member of the crew for just 99 cents a month.
But yeah, like what Japan's doing, and I really like how they're handling this, is that they are trying to bring in. It's always been doing it for a long time with One Piece. They're bringing in overseas animators to work on their project on One Piece. And you've seen like a lot, they tweet about it all the time. You've seen French, American animators work on like some of the most beautiful episodes of One Piece. And I think that's actually a smart thing to do to compensate for the shortage. So similar to what Shueisha is doing with Manga Plus creators, giving foreign manga artists a chance to get into the market and get into the pages, or getting onto Manga Plus, and even in Japan, on Japan's Manga Plus or Jump Plus in Japan. Like, I think this is a smart idea from Aniplex. As long as Japan is in control of it and you don't have to work, and Aniplex is running it, then I think this will be fine. There will be, from what I heard, there's going to be minimum Crunchyroll output minimum, but it's mainly Aniplex Japan that's running it.
Oh, good.
But something I thought was, but there was something I thought was interesting too. They said, they said that the person that was working on the software, and I thought this was weird, they said that they weren't interested in it and they just fired them. It's like, that's something you don't see anymore in the US, is like, right. They should, even though they're not interested in the project, they still keep them on anyway. But yeah, this is Manga Plus creators that Cider has here.
So what I'm bringing this up for is Nerdigans has talked about this. So I want to clarify what it is, because it's a very important thing that's happening right now. It signifies what's going on in Japanese entertainment. They have opened up submissions basically directly to Shueisha. Now, Shueisha is in command of distributing Naruto, Dragon Ball, Demon Slayer, and a slew of other high-profile
My Hero Academia
manga. Right, they've been put charge of that, distributing that. So now they are giving you a chance to join that role. I want to impress this upon you. All right, this is a space where you, me, Nerdigans, regular people having no background, no dad that works at Nintendo, okay? This is you and me submitting this, and judges who are actual published mangaka decide whether or not this moves forward in further competition.
Well, it's also us as readers, we get to vote on it too, which is nice. And so we get to read it and vote on it, and then like after the first, second, and third, I think it's like second and third are on Manga Plus worldwide, and then first is on both Manga Plus and Jump Plus.
Right, and so this is what I want to attract people's attention to on this one right here, right? So what is important about this is that you may have heard of the anime, The Ranking of Kings. So if you haven't, go ahead, just drop over to Google and take a look at that. The Ranking of Kings started here. This won the competition. It made its way to the official publishing end of this over on, this is Manga Plus, the regular end of it that actually shows you Medibang, Manga Plus.
Medibang, for those of you that don't know who Medibang is the official localizer for like the Manga Plus exclusives, or for a good chunk of them, Manga Plus exclusives, which are mainly series that are on Jump Plus, and there's I think a couple of young Jump ones, like Oshinoko, for example, is a Manga Plus exclusive. Then a couple, some of the other Manga Plus exclusives are like Ron Kamanahashi, Deranged Detective, Marriage Toxin, Goche Hokaru. Where's the other one? You scrolled a little too fast. Centuria, which is down there. Centuria is a new one. And I know the mangaka was one of Fujimoto's, the mangaka Chainsaw Man. That was one of their assistants. And the best way to describe that one is like Berserk meets Vinland Saga. It is really good. And then there's, it's good. And then there's Deep Raputa, which is the one I'm obsessed with right now. And it's about a military AI falling in love with a human. But it's really scary because this AI, who we met, and it's an elementary school kid who met this AI in a game. She is hacking. She can hack into the human body, and she's hacked into the entire town, and she's hacked into his body through this headset. And it is just so creepy and so good. If you're into like a thriller series, psychological thriller, that one is really, really good, and I strongly recommend it. And the mangaka is so nice. She's a total sweetheart. But
so as we detailed here, very popular manga are available here on this end of the website. Now, what we just showed you over here is the independent end. These are all right here are all made by regular individuals that were not submit directly to the corporation. They submitted to the competition. You see here we have some great contenders going on here for the June awards. Now, these aren't final. These are as they're doing right now. As you can see, Timeless is doing 184,000 views. Okay, now that's page count. That's not clicks per thumbnail. All right, that's page count of people scrolling through it. I've read this one. We don't have time to get into it this evening, but this is a demonstrative. Like, I'll show you guys. The formatting screwed up on this website, and I don't know why it does that, but
it's better to read these on the app, I would say, than the website.
So I gotta shrink it down.
For Manga Plus, I like using the desktop more than the app. Yep. But the app does have a first read free kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So that's where if you have not read anything on Manga Plus, then I would go mobile. Unless you are up to date, then I would go desktop.
And so, as we see here, this artist behind this is very competent, and he's telling a very interesting story. Character loses his head and survives it. His head literally explodes. He's given information that blows his mind, quite literally, and it grows back. So what the gimmick of this is that during a war, this character who loses his head here, his younger brother died, and he wants to die to join him, but he can't die. And so that's the whole story, is him trying to find something to kill him so he can go be with his brother. And it's a tragic story, but it's very inspirational because through this battle, this guy learns he has a reason to live. Okay?
That's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. It just blows my mind how like this stuff goes. And one of my favorites didn't place very high in this last competition, and that's White Spark. This was May's winnings. May.
Oh, and to answer Leslie's question, it's called Centuria.
Okay, yeah.
Centuria is so good. Oh my god, the art in there is just incredible.
So this is White Spark, and it's adorable. It's an adorable little manga about a little duck guy. His name is Spark, and his older brother Tuna. All right, and Tuna is very powerful. Tuna is a traveling warrior who gets hired as a mercenary occasionally. And so they go through this thing where the little duck guy wants to be as strong as his older brother, but he's not because he's a little duck guy. And so he has these cute little reactions, and he's in the way of Tuna and all their mission to find this kingdom where they'll never be hungry again. It's a usual story about guys that are down on their luck, and they heard about this mystical place where everything goes well, and they're trying to go there to live well. Yeah. And so what I want to bring your attention to is the very end of it. Oh, there we go. The very end of it. And so I'm not spoiling anything. The whole story, it doesn't matter what happens here. But Tuna puts Spark behind a giant rock in a forest that can only be exited through this passageway where the rock is blocked. And he says, when you're strong enough to break the rock, come find me. Then I don't have to worry about you anymore. You'll be strong enough to defend yourself. Now he's strong enough. Look at him. He's strong enough, and he's setting out all by himself to find Tuna and find the kingdom. And it's basic shonen stuff. And I know to people out there, it sounds very flat. It sounds very kind of like generic. But I got to tell you, when you're faced with stuff like the Acolyte, when you're faced with stuff like Captain Marvel having a man face and no butt, when you just see a little child character trying to emulate his older brother, it doesn't matter what package that takes. It just feels good, you know?
Yeah.
But we've got some bad news too. For $5 here, Alpha Omega says, bud of mine works for a few studios. The U.S. corporations and banks are using blackmail and coercion. It's real and it's worse than we think.
That
Real
doesn't surprise me.
viciousness.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. The thing that really should terrify us, right, is that we found out just recently that the U.S. government is pairing up with the Ukrainian government to develop video games to counter Russian disinformation and propaganda. I don't even know what that means. I read through the article and I still don't understand what they're trying to do here. So apparently there's Russian misinformation going out into the world, right? And so the U.S. government is now teaming up with game developers to help Ukraine fight this battle against Russian video games.
So here's the thing when it comes to misinformation, okay? And people need to understand this. And this has been a debate that's been going on my Twitter like for the past like 24 hours. The thing is that, and I don't think Ukraine should have internet at this point. If they don't, then that's my whatever.
Oh no, they do. They're kind of a first world country, most of the way to a first world.
The thing is, you have the largest database at your fingertips, okay? The internet and Twitter, like I find all my information on Twitter for the most part. Use it. Learn. If you don't know what a credible source is, that is on you. If you believe everything you read and not question it, that is your fault. Mm-hmm. That is all your fault. So, and also something that I love in terms of like Kingdom or like Tomodachi Game and like several series have said that I've covered is that it all depends on your perspective on what like misinformation is, what good, what evil is. It depends on your perspective. It's very subjective. It really is. There's a line, obviously, you got to cross to like really, really commit evil, obviously.
Right.
You got to really do some fucked up shit.
Like when you're going out there and saying that G Gundam isn't a great anime. That's misinformation and it's harmful.
But it's very subjective. It really is. It just depends on where you're at in the world, where you are at in life, your experiences. It really just depends on your point of view. And that's what people don't seem to understand. But if you fall for quote unquote misinformation, that is your fault. Stop blaming other people or stop blaming like a video game. Stop blaming social media. Stop it. It's your fault. You need to take accountability for yourself and for your actions. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of this.
Well, and we've got RJ McReady saying money laundering through Ukrainian video games. Yeah, it's 100% the case.
Yeah.
Is that this is most likely what they're doing, and they're guising it as we got to make video games to fight Russian disinformation and propaganda. And again, that phrase alone, we have to make video games to fight Russian disinformation and propaganda. It's like, I don't know what's going on in Escape from Tarkov, but apparently it's telling people things. What do you think, Jacob?
I literally forgot you guys start the show early now. So
that's fine.
To a single word you guys said.
That's okay. The government is teaming up with Ukraine to make video games to make Russians look bad. Like they have to try.
So basically the CIA is just like dusting off their playbook from the 1980s and then like yeah, let's try this again.
Yeah. Now they don't have to rely on Atari scaring the Kremlin. They can, use that ridiculous.
Now we got more toys to play with,
Yeah.
Back then it was just Atari and then this little company called Nintendo at the time period, but now we got way more of that now.
Right. You gotta what is that? What was the company that oh boy, my internet just went screwy. Sorry.
I'm still here.
Yeah. No, you got that company that just recently told everybody that they're gonna ban them there. Valorant. Valorant just told everybody they're gonna ban you because of your hardware if you say mean words. But apparently you're okay to wage 5th generation warfare on video games.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of 5th generation warfare, here's something you guys can get behind. Cody Rhodes is going to be in the new Naked Gun movie with Liam Neeson.
This is like the one show I do a week where I don't have to like mention Cody Rhodes. I can just pretend like that he doesn't exist. But
Too
as the
bad.
old smart busters used to say, fuck Cody Rhodes. So that's how I feel about Cody Rhodes as a person. We can go into like the whole thing that happened with like WrestleMania and then like the whole pissing match between like him and The Rock and Triple H, and then everyone's crying. It's like, oh my god, he finished his story. He finally won the chance. Like, woohoo, woo, yay! It's like, I don't care. As far as this whole thing goes, it's like, let's be very, very honest here. Why are we doing the Nikki the Gun reboot? Why are we doing this?
Honestly, I don't know, because they're a comedy movie. I don't understand why you can't just be like funny police movie. It's not like anybody's going to be around and be like, hey, this is Naked Gun. I mean, I don't know anybody under 40 that would be like, I'm offended that this movie has been reimagined under a different title, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And like one thing here, it's like Pamela Anderson's a part of this too. It's like what is funny about Pamela Anderson
Who is
outside
this
of
meant
her?
to appeal to?
Do they even know? Like, I gotta be honest, like, based on everything that we've seen with Hollywood over the last couple, do they even know who they're appealing to anymore? It doesn't seem like they either don't know or they just don't care.
Well, you remember last year, Bob Iger told us that they've fallen out of line with the market at Disney. I can't imagine these other corporations are doing much better. But think about this for a minute. Liam Neeson is how old? He is
Like 73,
71. Right? He's 71 years old. So now I get that Kelsey, who was the guy? Leslie
Tarkin.
What was no? It wasn't Leslie Tarkin. It was
Leslie
Kelsey.
No, was it Leslie Nielsen? Because it
Hold
sounds
on.
like
Leslie Nielsen. I think so. Hold on.
Yeah,
Star
Leslie Nielsen
of Naked Gun. Yeah, Leslie Nielsen. Yeah, and again, like Leslie Nielsen was an old man certainly when those movies came out, but
oh yeah,
this is a different thing. Like we've seen Liam Neeson need 11 cuts to get over with a stuntman a chain link fence. Not a laser chain link fence, not barbed wire, just a regular dog doesn't jump over and eat the mailman chain link fence. And I don't have confidence in this. Like, who are they going to OJ in this, by the way? Who are they going to put in OJ's position? Because that's like, we're planning on you having a white Bronco getaway chase here, pal.
Can you do an AI version of Aaron Hernandez? Because I mean, that'll work out perfectly, right?
I don't know. Maybe they'll bring Tupac back as a CGI cartoon character like Roger Rabbit to ride shotgun with Liam Neeson.
They brought Tupac back in South Park, if that counts.
Well, there you go. Tupac. It's the year of the Tupac. He's like a new Zodiac animal, right?
Mm-hmm. It's like
what star were you born under? Tupac. What's your side, baby? Tupac.
Are you down with the Pac?
But yeah, so we're getting a Naked Gun movie for somebody that's starring a bunch of old people that nobody under 40 honestly cares about. Really? No. Are you gonna? If Liam Neeson, Pamela Anderson, and Cody Rhodes just fell off the side of the earth today, was anybody going to care?
Not really.
This is a series that was popular, like you said, when O.J. Simpson was known as a football player.
The juice, not a murderer.
Do you know how long ago that was?
Before I was born.
So by adding Liam Neeson, Pam Anderson, who hit the wall hard and they just never stopped going through it, and then Cody Rhodes all together. Oh yeah, sure. I mean, unless this is going to be like a $5 million production that's going to get put on like Paramount Plus or some like shindig third-rate streaming service, it's like I don't know what the end game is for this whole thing.
It could be worse. No, this could be worse. It could be like a TikTok star movie. Like that could be the worst thing about this.
Jake Paul in blackface.
Oh my god, no.
You know it. You know that would be the joke to do right there. Is just play it off as he's just straight up. He's just OJ.
They have him in his old Buffalo Bills jersey too. If you really want to put the icing on.
Oh my god.
Right. Yep. With a police badge on it. Just that nobody addresses that that's not uniform, that's not code. He just walks around with that police badge on the uniform, name on the back, number and all.
He just walks around like, "Save that young blood." What you?
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
No,
right out of Tropic Thunder.
No, did you see that? Who am I kidding? OJ will be replaced with Lizzo.
Yep, with Lizzo. Yep, you got Kirby saying OJ will be replaced with Mike Vick. That's pretty funny. RJ McReady says, I want Cody as Nordberg, so Brandy has the swatting Jordan Peele.
Oh, maybe they were. Oh, I saw this on Twitter. Like someone was saying about a Black Iron Man or something like that, and people like posted Robert Downey Jr. from Tropic Thunder.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the first black actor to play an Iron Man. Yeah, well there's one before the original Iron Man.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, that'll be the first line of Jake Paul in blackface, and he's like, anybody seen my gloves? That'll be his first line when he shows up on camera. Anybody see my gloves? These ones don't fit.
For Saiyan, sorry, these don't fit. This guy's weird.
These are your gloves. They're too small for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I did want to show you guys this stupid cool thing that they did with Will Smith's new Bad Boys movie.
Oh, I've seen the ratings for that. It's not good.
Well, they did some crazy film stuff with this. So check this out, okay? I'm going to bring it up over here. It got posted to Twitter off of historic videos. And this takes like the POV angle of like holding a gun in a video game. So look at what he's got. He's got a hip-mounted rig that extends out here and it tracks the gun. The gun is on a pivot here, as you can see. And you go from hammer to barrel in this shot. Watch. I got it muted because it's just a bunch of crap. Watch, look at that. Look at that. That is sick. Watch what it looks like on the edited footage. Look at this.
That is cool.
Watch him go around. There he goes. Here's the switch. Hammer to barrel. My God, that's cool. My God, that's cool. Look at that. Look at that.
Bad Boys, what you vote? What you vote? And so it's weird. I can't make any declaration on this movie yet. I won't see it till tomorrow. So,
yep.
but I don't know, because after the third one, I was like, do we really need another Bad Boys? It's like, I understand like why they're doing it because they need the money, but it's like, do we really need another one? It's like both of these guys are like almost 60 at this point. Will Smith obviously needs this to be a hit so that people will stop talking about the fact that he slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars a couple years ago. Martin Lawrence is looking very, very rough, and I think it's been admitted now that he suffered a few strokes over the last few years, and he just doesn't look like he's in physically like the best position at all. But then again, I mean, Bad Boys doesn't work as a series without Martin Lawrence, so they have to have him in there, but it's like he's not in any shape to be continuing with these movies. So it's like I don't know what like I said, what is the end game for this series here? Are they planning on doing Bad Boys like 5 and 6 coming up soon? Like when they're both like, I mean, is Martin Lawrence even going to make the 60? Let's be should we ask that question?
I don't think so. This gotta be the last one he does.
Hey man, they could always do a Power Rangers thing where he becomes a floating head in the tube and selects teenagers with attitude to shoot up drug lords.
That is true.
But I mean,
I was just gonna say just quick. There was a video that went viral this weekend when they were like doing, I think they were at the premiere or whatnot, and literally Will Smith had to like hold like Martin Lawrence up because he wasn't moving around very well, and people were trying to say, "Oh, it's just because he's drunk." It's like, no, I don't think he moves around that well in 2024 as much as they want him to. So
I didn't even know this movie was coming out. I was genuinely surprised to see this thing was releasing.
Yeah. Everybody I've shown this today has said the same thing, and this is the best evidence I have right now for how ad blockers have completely destroyed the advertising ecosphere. Right? Well, they can't get anything to you. I was saying earlier, if Gary doesn't talk about it on the Nerdrotic Nooner or it doesn't come up on the Geeks and Gamers stream, I don't know what's happening.
Right.
There's no way to advertise to me. I don't watch live television. I don't watch
again,
Netflix.
That's probably a good
thing. I have
thing.
ad blockers.
Yeah, no,
it's true.
Like,
it's true.
I don't know. See, instead of Gary, I actually go with Jacob. Like, I watch the Barroom podcast, and that's where I learn about all of my big pop culture goings-ons. And if it doesn't happen there, then hopefully somebody retweets it onto my feed. Otherwise, just completely over my head.
But here's the flip side. It's like if you like watching these streaming services that have ads, like Hulu, for example, right? You're watching Hulu, and all of a sudden, it's an ad break on Hulu. Then you have to sit through like a 2-minute long like commercial for like someone with HIV/AIDS. It's like, are you in a homosexual relationship and you have AIDS? You want your blood levels to be undetected? Use this blah blah drug. It's like, why am I watching this? It's like,
it's not even targeted targeted at. That's the thing is like I've noticed this, Jacob, and you're probably in this realm too. Is if you use ad blockers and you're not like really susceptible to basic advertising, I think the algorithm doesn't know what to do with people like that because like I have ad blockers on everything except my phone. So when I'm on YouTube on my phone, that's where I get ads. But I only ever get ads for like this native body wash thing and like okay, you know what it is.
I do the same thing. I have ad blockers. Like even with my ad blocker though, I still get ads on Twitch, and it is the most frustrating.
I know they changed that up. But what I'm saying is like on YouTube now, you don't like I don't get targeted advertising. It's the same body wash every time, and I don't use body wash. I use whatever Costco sells in a like 4-pack. Like I'm a guy. I don't really.
But it's like for my commercial, like I'm assuming they're showing these commercials because I am in Georgia. It's Atlanta.
Yeah.
When you look at Atlanta, it's like So, but outside of that, it's like, are they just assuming that everyone who's watching like Hi Puffy Uppy Yumi is like has AIDS? It's like what is the correlation here between like the show and the ad?
Are we virtue signaling with our ads now? Are we not even trying to sell anything? Are we just virtue signaling with ads? Like, look, we'll run ads for your HIV drugs.
Yeah, it's just.
Well, this Pride Month.
That I was gonna say it's Pride Month, and who else watches these services anymore? Like most people have tuned out. Most people.
That's the thing. Like it's not even like exclusive to Pride Month. They're showing this in like January. It's like what's that?
Just whatever, just in case you got it. Then we'll keep reminding you.
Do we have
like a little buddy notification? No idea. I'll tag him, but I haven't talked to him about it today. I haven't heard a no.
Okay,
just start barking at him.
As soon as we find out, we'll start the show. But in the meantime, I did want to ask you guys, how is the price of fast food?
No, you don't.
It's absolutely
no, you don't.
I just got earlier today. I bought a Baconator. It was $8.
I told you. That's the thing. This has to stop.
No, just the sandwich. There was no fries, no drink, just the sandwich.
Oh, that's why like McDonald's.
If I wanted the combo, it would have been like $13.
That's so much. This is just a potato. You're adding on a potato for like $5.
Soggy potato.
So I hold on just real quick. I was literally having this argument with my coworker at work today because there's a place here called Taco Magni. If you guys are in the Southeast, you may know about it. But they have these things called like the Philly egg rolls, right? Philly egg rolls and buffalo chicken egg rolls. Now they are good, but however, it's essentially 2 very small egg rolls sliced in half. And it's literally $7.50 each plus tax, which means it's almost like $8 for like 2 sliced up egg rolls in a little tiny box. And it's like, it's gotten to the point now where legitimately you can't even do fast food anymore. You are just better off making your own food at home, saving money and getting far better portions than you're getting at these fast food restaurants.
Oh yeah, no, it's abysmal out there. I don't know if you guys have seen the news, but like I know McDonald's is doing it. I think maybe like Burger King, but they went out of their way to introduce new value meals that are just like $5 flat because they were losing business because all of their regular meals went up to $9, $12, $15. And everybody was like, what's the point then? I only eat McDonald's because it's cheap and easy. I'm not going to eat it if it's like, I don't know, like restaurant prices. It's absolutely insane. And a lot of it's inflation, but a lot of it is just corporate greed. Because if you go and you look into the McDonald's situation, when McDonald's was like, okay, we are corporate, we're going to say this is a new item we're offering, $5 meals on your menus. All the like franchisees lost their minds and they were like, no, we're going to lose more money. We don't want to sell for that. And it's just like, but you're going to lose more money if nobody is showing up. So I don't know what you want us to do. Something has to give, and it's going to be us. Like we will all be able to go, no, we're good. I'll stay at home. I'll eat something here.
Just get an air fryer and
my god,
my air fryer.
I love it. Oh yeah. I mean, this is like ridiculous now. It's like, keep in mind, this is based on like 2014 prices. Go all the way back to like 2004.
Yeah,
like it's even more embarrassing of how we've got. Like I think I mentioned this before. Remember when McDonald's used to do like 39-cent cheeseburgers? Like
yes.
Do you guys remember the rapper Tie My Shoe and the 29-cent hamburgers at McDonald's song?
Yeah, in his
Oh my
song.
God.
Yeah,
I like
I
that
used to-
song. My
I
friends
used to
and I
go
used to
get.
listen to it all the time.
I remember being in middle school, and there was a McDonald's really close to my school, and it was like a godsend for a kid going through puberty. Because if I had like an extra $1, well, there's 3 burgers I can just like wolf down after school. It was incredible. Not anymore. Now that $1 is not getting you anything. That 39 cents isn't even getting you like the lid to your drink. It is
My mom used
not
to
there
like,
anymore.
Like every Wednesday, it would just be a family outing for my family. Like,
That's
we would
right. It
go
was
to
Wednesdays.
McDonald's.
I remember that now. Yeah, I remember that.
It was every Wednesday. My family would go to McDonald's because we had the McDonald's like that had the playground. So
Yeah.
we would go down. We would go there, and my brother and I would just go play on the playground.
Yep.
And it was
Can't
like it was
do
right
that
next
anymore.
because when my grandparents would come visit from like New Jersey, like the hotel was right next door to the McDonald's. So like we would go
It's
visit our
right
grandparents
there,
at the
yeah,
hotel
and
and then
it's
go to McDonald's.
Right there.
So this
the
is.
biggest. Or go ahead. Yeah, go Cider.
Well, I just wanted to bring this up because
Oh!
this right here. Are you okay?
Pain.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm
physical
looking at
pain.
this, and it like physically
yeah.
pains my body.
So I wanted to point this out, right? So think about this. These changes in our society about having an older population have affected things all the way down to fast food. Because when you're talking about going and getting
Thanks, boomers.
29-cent cheeseburgers, that's not made for a 40-year-old man. That's made for a teenager that can probably digest a car tire iron. All right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what they're eating. They're getting the calories so they can grow big and strong and fight a war.
Exactly.
All right? So the thing that we're seeing now is that McDonald's loses its play place. Why? You'd think that they market to children. They make toys for children. Why do they do it? Because there's not enough children. You just had
Good point.
Chuck Schumer come out in New York and say,
Oh,
we have a
boy.
population that's not replenishing. And it's like,
Did he really?
Yeah, he
could have
did.
contributed to that?
Yeah, he did. He was they're
I'm
making the case
shocked.
for amnesty. They're making the case for amnesty.
Oh,
So we're saying we have a
okay.
population that's not
Oh,
replenishing
okay.
itself. And it's like, excuse me, after 30 years of my entire life, since I was born and before, we were told that the world is overpopulated and we shouldn't have kids. And now you're telling me that there's not enough people to keep the fucking economy running? So that's what you're looking at here.
Yeah.
This is what it is. This is the result of having a majority of people over 40 in this country. That's what this is right here. They would still be serving you things that qualify as a hockey puck instead of food for 39 cents, but they can't because along with inflation, the level of product readiness has to be made to appeal to everybody rather than just iron belly teenagers.
And I mean, it's across the board, right? The point I was going to bring up is like, okay, first of all, the one that hurt me there was I think it's like the McDouble was $5 and now it's like $11 or the quarter. Something was insane
The
there.
quarter
And that
pounder with
hurt me.
cheese.
That's what it was. Yeah, the quarter pounder was $5 and then it was 11 now. But the biggest war crime in fast food prices is still Subway. And I don't know if I've talked about it on this show before, but back in the day, they used to, I know everybody remembers this. They used to do $5 footlongs. That was their entire thing. They had a jingle. They had Jared for, but that was their entire brand. And now it's 5 for $6, $5 for a 6-inch sub. And I'm like ready to commit an act.
Well, not only that, but
like based on like all the info that's come out about Subway's bread, it's like there's no.
well, I mean, that's the other thing too. If we're being completely honest with ourselves, the actual quality of the food in all of these restaurants has also dramatically so you're actually paying more money for shittier food. And that's literally what's happened here.
No, it's 100% true. I remember my black pill moment was back when I was a teenager, when I was getting into college, like 2008, 2009. Carl's Jr. used to have their spicy chicken sandwich for $1. And it was like a giant filet on a sesame seed bun with mayo and pickles and lettuce and tomato. And it was great. And then when I got to college, they went, oh, we're changing things up. And they shrunk the size and they got rid of the bun, so it was just like a regular generic burger patty bun, and they were still charging $1 for it. And I remember being like, I Like that was my Joker moment. We live in a society.
No, our live in a society moment was when I think it was when Wendy's and Burger King changed, and even Carl's Jr. to an extent changed the chicken nuggets.
Oh, that hurts.
And then in the case of Wendy's and Burger King, especially when they changed the fries.
Oh yeah, I hear fries have gone downhill everywhere.
Oh, the fries for Wendy's was when they changed it. That was a war crime. Oh
well,
my
God, the problem is that across the board, fast food restaurants stop actually cooking their fries and lard. It's like, hey, let's just all move into to oil now because oil's great for everyone. So now all they're serving you is these burnt dry fries that have like no texture like to it whatsoever.
Look at this.
By the way,
I missed the one. Oh.
Yeah, this is all the stuff that used to be $1.
These, yeah. The wooden sign and everything, that kids meal logo.
Man, that was so good. Those were the days.
Dang, you used to be able to mix things into Frosties. I don't know if you can do that anymore.
Yeah, you can
It's
still
a crime.
do that.
Oh, you still can? You still can?
It's a crime.
No, you go straight to jail.
You mix it. No,
I wouldn't be surprised. Thanks, Biden.
But it's just not as good as it used to be. I remember getting like a thing of chicken nuggets and a big thing of fries and just dipping it in my Frosty, and it was just perfection.
Yeah, the nuggets is probably the biggest abomination because Wendy's used to have like amazing nuggets and they only used to be $1.
And now Burger King.
And now you can
best nuggets.
And now you can clearly tell that they're just buying like Tyson frozen nuggets, like from wholesale, and just throwing them in the fire now. And it's like, wow, there's no effort to these numbers.
Same with Carl's Jr. They used to have the chicken stars, and those were like amazing.
Oh, I remember those.
And then
see, that's why I just stick with Taco Bell. It's always been slop, and it's still slop, and it will remain slop.
The problem is that it's more expensive. Like Taco Bell is another disaster too. It's like, how in the world are you going to charge people? How do you have the audacity to charge someone $3.50 for a Doritos taco? Like, do you understand the whole point of Taco Bell was that you can basically get like 500 tacos for like $2 because they were so shit.
Dude,
like that was the whole point.
No, he's not kidding.
Bell.
He's not.
I remember this because it was before the Taco Bell near me died out and went away. And I say near me, it was an hour away. But that Taco Bell, you could get 200 tacos for $20.
That's so insane.
Would do 200 tacos, soft shell tacos.
We never had
for $20. I remember that.
See, like, nowadays they'll. Or go ahead, Nerdigans. Yeah.
One thing that I will never forgive Taco Bell for getting rid of, and this was like in 2006. Was the grilled stuffed nacho crunch burrito. That will forever be my favorite burrito, and they never brought it back.
Well, now they're getting rid of quesadillas. They're cutting down more items. The craziest menu jump for me from Taco Bell. Well, but like the craziest jump for me in price in Taco Bell is the quesadilla. Even if you don't want the chicken one, it's just cheese, tortilla, and their sauce, and it's like $7. That is absolutely.
It went up from like $3 to $7.
It's not even $3 is too much.
My go-to for Taco Bell was always their cheesy gordita crunch. It's like I could kill a couple of those. Those used to be always like delicious. About $2 or $3, and I think now they're like $5 each now, which is ridiculous.
What?
Yes,
RJ McReady.
Like I think it was like $2.79 or like $3. It was either $2 or $3.79 for a cheesy gordita crunch, if I remember correctly.
RJ McReady says Taco Bell dropping the $5 box was their decline.
Stupid.
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. Yep. They're all doing that now. I mean, even Cider has In-N-Out here, and they went up in a price. They went up in price just. Oh, Jacob has it up here. They went up in price like earlier this year, right? Like a couple bucks or something.
Yeah, a cheesy gordita crunch now is $5.20 just for.
Yeah, and it used to be like $2. It used to be, I think, like $3.79 or something like that. It's either $2 or $3.79.
And it's still insane because these companies go, "Oh, we're going to charge all this money, but now you're going to go spend that money and come see our crappy movie." All right, yeah, you all have the money for this, right? Mm-hmm. That's the part that gets me.
Something that Cider and I were talking about before was how the drive-in theater should have been revived during COVID, and
that would have been nice.
Yeah.
Anime is perfect for the drive-in theater.
Yeah.
most anime is perfect for it, especially with like the vibrant colors. You can actually see it against like the outside night sky. You don't want to go see the latest Marvel movie in a drive-through because you're not gonna be able to see anything.
Don't go see a DC movie. It's too dark.
Yes, there we go. That's an even better example. Yep. Go watch the Snyderverse. You're not gonna see anything.
Speaking of the dark, Josh isn't here yet. We're 20 minutes into when we should have started the show. So shall we run the intros and start the show?
Let's run the intros. Let's kick it off.
All right.
One more kiss and I'll get lost. I can take this anymore. One more step, we have it all. The fever's knocking at your door. One more kiss and I'll get lost. I can take this anymore. One more step, we have it all. The fever's knocking at your door. Can you feel the fever? You give me a fever again. Yes, I know it's just your game, but I love to be the one who gets played, yeah. There I go and I just fall again. Cause baby I like the way I'm loving you. I like the hell you put me through. I keep on chasing after you. Yeah, you feel the fever, you can feel the fever. I like the things you make me do. You know how to make me like a fool. The way you smile, the way you move. Yeah, you feel the fever, you give me a fever again. You give me a fever again.
Folks, we finally have the Acolyte, and I'm not kidding when I say I am the most excited I have been for a Star Wars series in a long time. Trust me on that.
Joke's on you, Disney. I always thought Star Wars was gay.
Have you already had enough of rainbow pandering? I sure have.
Space lesbo babies. That's right. That's what we've got for you tonight. I hope you brought your barf bag.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Nerdigans, you can't be over the rainbow marketing quite yet because June has just kicked off. We just got the Acolyte, and it is, quote, the gayest Star Wars that we've gotten ever, end quote, according to Leslie. Okay, that wasn't the exact quote, but that might as well have been the quote. But
yeah,
yes,
but no
she said it was literally the gayest thing she's ever seen in her entire life, and audiences agreed.
But there's no Skittles in it, though. There's no Skittles and unicorns up in it, though.
It's okay. You've got lesbian Jedi hitting on other lesbian Jedi, and it feels really, really awkward because, yeah, we will absolutely get into it. Because, folks, yes, it is another Wednesday night. It is another episode of the 01 stream. And like I said in my intro, we are finally back in the Star Wars, the black hole that is Star Wars, the disaster piece that is Star Wars. Obviously, tonight we have a lot to talk about, a lot of it focused on the Acolyte. Obviously, if you were here before the show officially started, Cider, Jacob, and Nerdigans probably walked you through a few other topics during the Majors briefing room. But we have a lot to talk about tonight. Lots of just Kathleen Kennedy is the dumbest. Leslie Headland is the dumbest. The Acolyte is shaping up to be the dumbest show that Star Wars possibly could ever put out. And like I said in my intro, I'm excited because if all the rumors that have already come out about this show end up being true, it's going to be spectacular. We are going, everybody here, anybody in the chat, anybody on the panel with a YouTube channel, with a Twitter, you will be rolling in money because this is going to be an absolute just implosion, explosion. Just if you thought Star Wars was dead before, it is going to die. Like even death may die, Cthulhu style. That's what's coming.
It was already dead. Now people are just defecating on the gravesite at this point.
Oh man, this isn't even defecating. This is like digging up the corpse, doing things, doing literal unholy things with going on YouTube and going, hey, everybody should praise me for this. Isn't the corpse desecration I did just so awesome? Isn't this a new life for life? This is what you all want.
Are you not entertained?
I made a meme.
It is such a disaster. You made a meme. Where's
dead,
the meme?
Dead.
That is dead.
Yeah, we're probably not going to be all official and just do a breakdown, and we'll probably just hit all the big topics of the Acolyte. But if you didn't see, in reference to Cider's meme, this first episode, like these first two episodes, this premiere does every single like dumb Star Wars trope from like Disney Star Wars trope that we've seen throughout everything. And one of them is a bait and switch, because I know a lot of people in our sphere, even myself included, when the Acolyte was being previewed, a lot of people went, okay, really, really dumb. Nobody really wants this, but it's kind of cool to see Trinity, Carrie-Anne Moss from The Matrix as a Jedi. It's cool to see, not that we're like really excited about it or we're sold on it, but like, oh, that's a neat. She dies in the first 5 minutes of the show. Like, not only does she die in the first 5 minutes of the show, she dies to a knife, like a small kunai style knife being thrown into her chest after a fight where she's been shown to be like using the Force to block all these things that are coming at her. What happens is Amanda Stenberg's character throws a knife at like a bystander. So Carrie-Anne Moss goes, whoa, and she stops the knife. But then because her attention was all the way over there, another knife was able to like come at her and get her in the chest. And it's like, how? I thought the Jedi were supposed to know their surroundings and feel things. And like, what are we doing here? You're making everybody look so stupid. It's bad. Like, this is going to be a very bad show. They are lucky it is only 6 episodes, because if it went any further than that, I don't know what they would be able to do.
This is what we would like to call puddle sniffing stupid.
I don't know. The thing that is always on my mind when I watch these 2 episodes was the statement last week from Kathleen Kennedy, where she admitted that when Leslie Headland brought the very first drafts of the Acolyte to her, Kathleen Kennedy told her, like, you made a great Star Wars show. This is a great Star Wars show, but we want now go write a great Leslie Headland show. So it's like, oh, great. It's going to be like super self-inserty, super, I don't know. You can just see the first 2. Here's like my base review of these first 2 episodes. These first 2 episodes are relatively inoffensive. There's not a lot here outside of like, okay, that's kind of stupid. That's really dumb. But you can see all the building blocks ready to be there. You've got the Force dyad twins again thing that they're trying to make that idea stick from Rian Johnson. You've got diverse Jedi Masters. You've got lesbian Jedis. You've got the Force is going to be like literally female. Like, it's going to. It feels like a bait and switch. We're on the cusp of it. If it's even a bait and switch to go, I'm pretty sure I know what's coming. Which does that count? I'm not entirely
subverting
sure.
Expectations, Spencer. That's
they are.
They are subverting it. They said that they can't even meet your expectations, but they're going to subvert them. That's all what they know how to do.
Well, I was literally talking about this with Cider yesterday, where they set this show in the High Republic era so that they get to establish themselves as important just by virtue of coming earliest. All of this stuff now has to be respected and listened to and gets to define everything else just because you're playing in the earlier time periods now. All the Force rules are changed. All of the Sith rules are changed because you just made a show that's in the beginning. It feels very underhanded to me. Yeah, it's not meeting your expectations at all. It is subversion from the very, very beginning. Like, that's all I've been hearing about this show. The biggest subversion that's about to happen, which, like, if we want to get into it, is spoilers, I guess, if you really genuinely care about spoilers for the Acolyte. But according to the latest rumors that are coming out of people like Chris Gore and other leakers on like Reddit and 4chan and Twitter, in episode 3, they are going to basically reveal that, okay, so if you know Star Wars, you'll know that Anakin Skywalker was sort of made by the Force to be the one to bring balance to it, right? Like, that was the entire prophecy. That was the entire point of the prequel trilogy. He was the one, and then he finally fulfills that destiny at the very end of Jedi when he throws Palpatine off the reactor. Now, in episode 3, they're apparently going to show the Force is like birthed into existence by like space lesbian. Cider, you have a better way to like summarize it. Like, I don't even know how to summarize what I'm trying to say right here. I know exactly what's going to happen, but I'm having like an impossible time putting it into words.
So the way that Chris explained, because Chris Gore has pre-broached this. Part of his like job is to see all this in advance and provide reviews for it. So this guy, he's explaining. Chris Gore works with Geeks and Gamers, Friday Night Tights, that kind of group. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, so Chris was explaining what he saw in this, and what he explained was that there are 2 women that give birth to, when they're talking about the Force in general, like how the Force works, what the light and dark are. That these 2 witches give birth to twins somehow. So like 2 women give birth to children who are twins. I want you to think about that statement for a minute. 2 separate women give birth to 2 separate children that are twins. And they're identical at that, okay?
Subversion. You thought you knew how birth worked? Now we're going to subvert how birthing works.
So these twins they're not the twins that we see in the show. This is another set of twins that are May and her sister O.R.C.A. are O.R.C.A. the violator.
That's what I keep thinking too, dude. It is a bad name to pick.
That's an O.R.C.A. violation right there. But
OSHA, and I'm like, oh man, is somebody not forklift certified? Like, are the Jedi about to get in trouble? I know that's a write-up.
So what Chris explains without giving it away is that the Force is undone by this birth. That the Force, as it exists as a... So we understand that this story is supposed to show us that Plagueis is able to summon life and death. These twins are the beginning of the Force taking shape. This is how Plagueis discovered that the Force can become a living being. This is the myth, the story, the legend of the Force coming into the physical realm. Beforehand, it was simply to move the energy around you, that kind of thing. But when these twins were born, it demonstrated the Force was not an afterlife, that it is a current life. Now, the show explains that the Force is not an energy any longer, that it is a thread. Quote, pull the thread, change everything. That's what it is now. It's the thread of destiny is what the Force is. It is not, it is gendered as well because these twins are non-binary, right? Which means they're both male and female at the same time, which means, of course, they're gendered. So the Force, in its physical representation, were these 2 twins from 2 separate women somehow that represent light and dark. And that there you go. Meanwhile, Leslie Headroom over here, right? Leslie Headroom, she explains that the whole inspiration for this series is born out of her strained relationship with her own sister. So you're seeing her work out family therapy to the tune of $180 million.
And it's not like subtle either in her inspiration from it, because there was an interview that Headland and Kennedy gave last week, and we covered it on Bounding. You can check out the articles, but essentially Kathleen Kennedy was like, oh, when I wanted Headland to write a series, I was super inspired by one of her independent plays, which is about like two sisters who have this awful relationship and they don't talk to each other, blah, blah, blah. And then Leslie Headland goes into this explanation of, yeah, my sister and I, we kind of hate each other. We don't really talk. We don't have a relationship. And then you watch The Acolyte and you go, oh, the
That
main
explains
character,
it.
May, she doesn't like her sister and they have a strained relationship. And
I've
man,
seen
and I'm
this one before.
yeah, that's exactly what I was going. I was like, oh, Michael J. Fox style. I've seen this one before. It's very bad. But the one thing that is like that I was trying to mention is, so now that the Force is given these two forms by the space witch lesbians, that means Anakin Skywalker is no longer the one. He's just a one. Like, he is not special anymore. He is just the next try we had at everything. So they're going back and they're devaluing everything about the main trilogy. Like, they're just saying this could have happened. It wasn't a special story. It was just might have happened eventually. It's
Another
really,
battle
really bad.
in the long struggle between the light and dark.
So it's basically, to me, I also view it as them saying like, oh, okay, you have them, they were the chosen ones back then. Now Anakin was a chosen one. Now Rey's also a chosen one. She counts too. I don't know. I just see it as this dumb, insidious way of redefining what a Force chosen one is.
Wouldn't they be devaluing the prequels too? And
yeah.
1,000
for everything.
I'm sorry. Do you think at this point they give a shit about canon?
No,
they absolutely
it's
don't.
Tumblr fanfic. Like, we talked, and we'll talk about it probably later in the show. But like, Jacob and I were talking about this with the Disney proposed Disney reboots that Iger spared us from. That a lot of this, and this is just in Hollywood in general, this is Tumblr fan fiction. They recruited these people. They had to recruit these people from Tumblr or maybe Instagram or something.
Well, I mean, Leslie Headland is definitely of that Tumblr stripe. And so here's the moment that probably stuck out to me the most as weird. And it's going to be more like, and I'll just explain it to you. You guys will see what I'm saying. And it goes to your point, Nerdigans, that this is a very Tumblr-y show, right? So in the second episode, so May, the main character, is a Jedi, or she was once training to be a Jedi, but then the council and everybody realized like, oh, her emotions are too strong, she can't train, and she left the order. And nowadays she works works odd jobs as like a repair person on ships. And in the second episode, she ends up like getting hurt and she ends up in a med bay, and she wakes up and the first person she sees is Daphne Keene, X-23 from Logan. Does Cider still have her up? Oh no, you had her up before, but she was that white alien. You don't need to go back for it. But she was that white alien. And so May wakes up and she exchanges some words with Daphne Keene, and then there's like some line about oh, don't worry, I can be flexible. Like, I'm very flexible. You know, she's clearly hitting on Daphne Keene. Like, she's trying to get do a double entendre. And so I don't normally care about this. Of everybody on the panel, like, I probably care the least about the LGBT stuff. But this is weird to me because it's like, you are a Jedi, or you were a Jedi. You know the Jedi aren't supposed to have relationships. So why are you hitting on another Jedi? It's kind of like if somebody went and hit on like a nun, right? Or like hit on a priest.
Because like, you know why it's in there?
What are you doing?
Because if they don't hit on them, how else are you going to know that they're gay?
It is literally that, dude. It is so in your face and indirect and like so just like on the nose that I was like, oh yeah, couldn't let us go throughout the series without knowing that they are a lesbian. You have to know they are lesbian. I was just like, this is very, very dumb. Okay,
this is a sustained campfire in space, by the
way. I don't have an issue with this. I know a lot of people have an issue with this, and I know Timon is in the chat right now talking about it, but I don't have an issue with this because, and we can talk about it more, but fire burning in space has been seen in Star Wars a lot. Like, it is not a new thing at all.
No.
In Return of the Jedi, when they take out the Star Destroyers, Admiral Akbar is watching the command post like flaming as it falls like into the planet's
There's
orbit.
a smoke trail. Yes.
Yeah,
But what the problem with this one is that it's crackling.
I know it's the crackling
And
sound.
that's the biggest problem I have with it. It's not the fire, it's that it's a campfire. It's just a campfire in space. Just like Meteor Advocate Timon, member for 1 month. Thank you very much.
Timon!
He asked, what's more dumb, Star Wars fire in space or Star Trek's sonar in space?
You
Sonar
get
in
caught up in
space?
the crossfire.
Yeah, so the think
And
about it for a
what was
minute.
that in? Was that in Discovery?
I believe it was in Strange
has-
New Worlds.
Oh, okay.
I think, but I could be wrong.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
sonar in space. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say that that's the one with Pike that did that. But yeah, sonar
yeah.
in space. The problem, there's no sound.
There's no
It
medium
doesn't work
for
like
it to
that.
travel through. Yeah.
Yeah,
I could believe like a fire in space, you know, A, that it's been seen in Star Wars before. B, it's possible that whatever they're working on had like an oxygen line and that's what was burning. Because I mean,
mhm.
that's how we get rockets into space, right? We continually ignite oxygen. But yeah, the crackling, it makes zero sense. But
Discovery.
but sonar in space,
Yeah.
that just doesn't, there's no explanation for that. Doesn't work. That's
That's
dumb.
not science.
That's not science.
That's not even
really, really
technobabble.
dumb.
Like even
But a lot
Jordy
of
would be
things
like,
defy
Captain,
the
we can't do that.
Like Jordy, Captain, what do you do? I quit.
But there are a lot
Wanna
of
say
things
Nerdigans?
right now that defy the science. That
Yep.
people are just defying the science.
Oh yeah.
This person in general, as soon as I find, there it is. This person in general is all about defying the science. Like 2 women giving birth to twins that are twins. Like 2 separate women giving birth to 2 separate babies that are twins.
Twins. And I don't know if it's the same like rumor or a separate one, but there is word that they are going to reveal the Force, like it's going to take on a female form, like not like a
Oh,
non-binary
God.
twin, like it's going to be.
This is the
Hey, Force
metaphorians
hammer.
all over again, isn't it?
It's
So
what
it's
again?
basically. All right.
Jacob.
It's the metaphorians all over again, isn't it? Or like
Worse
Doctor
than that,
Who with
worse
the
than
lost
that. Well,
children.
I was gonna say
That.
so basically it's just Gnosticism in Star Wars, and that's really what they're going down here with
Yeah,
this whole thing.
Gnosticism in Star Wars. Yep.
Yeah, no,
sounds
that
about right.
I mean, we knew from the start that they were going to make this the ethos of this entire series is like what does it mean to be a Sith or a Jedi? If you're on the dark side, are you really bad? What is the Force and who gets to wield it? So, like, it's gonna be. There was also a really weird thing, and maybe somebody. I wish, like, if only John was still here, he could correct me. But there was a weird moment at the very beginning where Carrie-Anne Moss was like, when Amanda Stenberg came to fight her, she was like, "Oh, unregistered Force user. I'm gonna like go apprehend her." And I'm like, since when did the Jedi
They don't.
police who they don't? That's not how the Jedi work.
Nowhere
hell?
in the expanded universe have or any other thing, not even in the video games with KOTOR, have the
Right.
have the Jedi said, in the name of the Republic and the Jedi Order, you are under arrest. That has never been uttered whatsoever.
Well,
He's literally the Force police.
it was uttered once. It was uttered once, kind of, and that's when Mace Windu is going for Palpatine.
Oh my
When
god!
he's like-
See, I
Like,
literally just
you're
grabbed-
under arrest, or whatever he says to him, and then he gets thrown out the window.
this is exactly what Disney needs to do to save its reputation. Their next Disney Plus series needs to be Force Cops. Cops that
It would
literally
be-
just go around patrolling people.
Cops is the
illegally using
best-
the Force.
Cops is that's hilarious. Like, Cops is the best show ever. We should have more Cops parody shows, and
Yeah.
that would be the only way I would accept it.
Member of the
get this
channel-
policing.
Member of the channel, Ravul Arvita says
Ravul!
Jedi PD, right? So you got
I would
live
watch
PD,
it.
you got Jedi live PD, you know? Jedi,
I see, like, I would watch
Jedi
it. I would
911,
watch.
you know?
I would love like that's sort of what Mandalorian was supposed to be, right? Like sort of like a procedural every day or every new episode he goes and not busts a crime but gets a new bounty. Like I would watch that. That sounds more interesting than this super wannabe deep Star Wars show that we're getting. Like everything that we've talked about so far, from non-binary space twins to lesbians giving birth to the Force being a literal female entity, these are all tropes that you would see writers in like 2010. This is what they would do to like subvert your expectations or take you by surprise. Just go, reveal that. And now that's all they're doing.
But it's just what Nerdigan said earlier. Like, this is basically Tumblr being financed by Disney. This is really it is. All those Tumblr fan fiction writers have now gotten the green light thanks to a multi-billion-dollar global corporation, and they now get to do everything that they wanted to do with Star Wars. And they came into this. It's like, you know what? Star Wars is too male. We don't like the fact that it's male dominated. We don't like the cis heteronormative blah 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 that involves with the Star Wars fan base. So we're going to recreate it in our own image. This was Kathleen Kennedy's plan from the very beginning. She's basically told everyone this from the very beginning, which is why we can't be shocked anymore, because this is how it's been. The only question is, this is the only thing that I look back at. It's like I said, the whole Kathleen Kennedy possibly being fired rumors have been around since 2017.
Yeah.
So they could have cut their losses with her 7 years ago, and maybe, just maybe, they could have righted this ship with a better creative direction. But like I said, she has to have some kind of blackmail information, like Diddy in her safe in her house, until the FBI or the CIA raids her home and gets those videotapes back. This is what Star Wars is going to be for the foreseeable future.
This is why we needed that the Florida legal battle to actually go to court, so that we could do discovery and see what everybody has on everybody else. Because Kathleen needs to go, but it's not happening. It's not going to happen unless she like goes away herself or has like an accident.
Like, I'm still curious. Like, Bob Iger, why didn't you just cut this show too? Like, was this show in production like when he came in, or like was it like
I said, Bob Iger has had a couple of opportunities to get rid of her at this point. And he hasn't done it. So like I said, she has some kind of videotape in a safe somewhere in her house. Somebody either slept with like a goat or like a small child, and that's the only reason why these shows exist at this point.
I mean, because like you do not. This is the like paradox that always breaks my brain whenever we sort of talk about these subjects. Is you don't, by logic, you don't destroy something this big in this grand of a fashion, this consistently, and keep your job. We are talking like guys, at best, I'm going to be super, super generous here. At best, we've had 3 Star Wars productions in the last 10 years, right? And that would be Rogue One. I know people like the first season or the second season of Mando. One of those ones I know people like, and I know people like Andor. So you have 3 series and films. Everything else has been a disaster. 3 giant blockbuster trilogy entries, disaster. Countless television series, disasters. All your merch sales, your hotel, your theme park, all of it is a absolute disaster. So it boggles, it defies logic, it defies the mind why she still has a job. She has to have.
Leslie said Acolyte was in production for 4 years. So when Iger came in, like in 2020, 2021?
Yeah, he came in 2 years ago. He came back 2 years ago.
So that's when, because Recess, the pitch came in 2022.
In 2022, yeah.
So Iger could have chopped this. This could have been stopped.
A lot of stuff.
Purge. So something's going on. Like, there's got to be some blackmail or something that Kathleen Kennedy has.
Either it's the blackmail, or Disney has finally realized that this is the last thing they have for Star Wars. This is the last fan base here, the emotional Tumblr fan base. That's who's left. You've disillusioned and run out all the old school fans, all the Jedi fans, all the Starship fans, all the Bounty Hunter fans, the Mandalorian, every fan of every aspect of Star Wars has been run out of town by Disney's handling of the series. And now that's, I don't even know where I'm going with that. It's a collapse. It's a complete disaster.
It's like I said, for me, Like, I've been very open about how I feel about Star Wars here. I've never been a big Star Wars fan. I gave
Yeah.
Disney Star Wars a chance. I've watched a few projects. A couple of them were interesting. Most of them have just been bad, and it just gotten progressively worse. But I can understand how someone who's like a hardcore Star Wars fan can still be upset by this. For me, at this point, it's like this is just what Star Wars is now. Like this is like your reality. It's like at some point you have to just accept that this thing is completely dead, and they're just gonna piss on it as long as Disney legally allows them to completely piss on this project. And that's exactly what they've done here. Everything about Acolytes, it's not like any of this is like a surprise. We knew they were doing this. No. We called this here about a year and a half ago when they confirmed what's her face to be the star of this whole thing. And I was like, I know exactly who she is. She's never been in anything good ever. I know exactly what her pronouns are, what her ideology is. So I knew this is exactly what this was going to be. So seeing this realized, I'm not shocked by any of this. It's like I hate to feel like just kind of like non-emotional, just disgruntled about it, but this is what I expected. It's almost like that old DMX clip when he said, trust people to be who they are, like trust a snake to bite you. Like, at this point, it's like this is what they are.
Well, like that's the thing. I don't know. So you guys might know, like I have a stream on Fridays, and over there we talk about all this different stuff. But I like anime, toku, video games, But I have a strict rule where I don't want to talk about Star Wars because I grew up as a giant Star Wars fan. Like I watch those videos all the time. Kids have those videos back in the day that they would just watch, on repeat. For me, it was Star Wars and the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. But I loved Star Wars, played all the games, bought all the toys, read all the comics, And now just with Disney's handling, I just hate it. Like it is bad. Nothing comes out of it that is ever objectively good. Everything that people say is good out of Star Wars comes with like it's good for Star Wars. And like, to me, that means, so it might be like an 8 out of a 10, 9 out of 10 for Star Wars, but it's a 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10 normally. So why am I going to care? And then with every press round, they do the exact same thing. Star Wars is for everybody now. You're all racist if you don't like this. Oh no, look, nobody wanted diverse leads. Nobody wanted female leads and everything. There have been no women in Star Wars. There have been no diverse characters in Star Wars. There've been and like that's just where we're at. It's awful. It's not fun.
How is Star Wars for everyone when you're attacking people based on their gender and their race and their identity?
Because Star Wars is for everyone except for the bigots.
That's exactly it. Okay, I'm going to use a term I'm loath to use because everybody abuses the hell out of this term. But at this point, the phrases like, inclusivity for everyone, or you're all welcome, or blank is for everyone. Those are dog whistles essentially at this point, or maybe not dog whistles, but virtue signals to the neoliberal people. That's not to actually say, oh yes, we're inclusive and we want to, make a good community of people and help you, That's saying, we specifically ascribe to this ideology, the ideology that would require me to come out and say we are diverse. We are.
Those words lost meaning. That's what they did.
Here's the other thing. These people, this is how they think in their mentality. When they say that, this insert show here is for everyone, what they're saying was that, this wasn't for everyone before, even though we clearly know that's a lie. But the way that they calculate it is that, I can only identify with a show or a movie if there's people on there that look exactly like me. And when I watch these movies, there aren't enough people in there that look like me. So I can't identify with these white people out there on these television shows. So we need to change things up. There needs to be more brown people and Asian people and gay people and trans people, because that way that I can truly identify it, and then it'll be for everyone, all the groups who weren't represented up to this point. But they know that's the way that they think. They have to see themselves quite literally in the show. This is why there's so many self-inserts, or else it just wasn't for them.
And that's how you can see how like narcissistic and superficial this all is, because at the end of the day, that's all these media creators care about. They want to go, oh yeah, our game has diverse women, all these sexualities, you can do this, you can do that, you can and they have literal checklists of things where they go, it does this, and that. Isn't it great? And you go, okay, cool, what's the game, what's the movie, what's the show? And they don't put any effort into that because that's not anything they care about. They only care about, does it have this, and that? Can I point at it and say, I did the right thing, or the right thing? I did good by the current, I don't know, zeitgeist. Maybe that's too strong of a word, but that feels right. Like
Yeah.
it's all performative. It's all to signal I'm a good person. Look at me. I'm a really, really, really good person. Oh, don't you think I am a good person? Like that's
Speaking
what
of
all
that,
of this is.
Amanda just couldn't keep her pride under control. Listen to what she had to say to Daily Show host Noah, what's his face? Trevor Noah.
Trevor Noah.
When people watch The Hate You Give, what do you want them to walk away with? Because I know everyone has a slightly different feeling.
Well, I mean, white people crying actually was the goal.
So you go. White people crying was the goal.
Well,
I mean,
here's the thing.
She is talking about a different project, but that is clearly where she comes from.
Yeah, but I was going to say this too, because I'm glad she actually brought that up. And like I said, I've mentioned this here on this show too. She has not been in literally anything that I've ever liked, ever. Like, I'm not even counting like the Hunger Games movie that she was in, because literally that first one sucked. Like, out of those 4 movies, the second one was the only one that was any good out of all of them. That's where I stand on the Hunger Games
and
movies.
technically, her role in those movies, like I will say, I like her in those movies, but it's only because she's that like token cute like little kid character who dies in like 5 seconds. She has maybe like 4 minutes of screen time.
But this is her filmography. This is everything. This is her body of work up to this point. There was a movie called Everything, Everything, which was a romantic teen drama. That was absolute ass. There was a little movie in 2018 called The Darkest Minds, which is a movie that nobody liked.
I hate the movie.
I remember that.
I'm going to tell you this because I read the books. I love the books. Go read the Darkest Minds books. You will understand why that movie is crap, and the books are fantastic. Same with the Hunger Games. I can't stand the movies.
Yeah, then she had, what was it, The Hate You Give, which is that Black Lives Matter propaganda film, which bombed at the box office too. So that was trash. Then she was in some weird like World War II Nazi movie, which I don't even know why they even thought that was a good idea. That was ass. Then she was in Dear Evan Hansen, which was a terrible, terrible musical from 2 years ago. Then she was in one of my worst movies of 2022, which was Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Also an absolutely dog water movie. And outside of a few appearances on RuPaul's Drag Race, now she's been on this show. So quite literally, she has not been in a single thing that I've ever considered to be borderline watchable. But like I said, she checks all the check boxes for Hollywood. She's an intersectional feminist. She's queer. She's African-American or biracial, one of the two. So every single possible check mark you can mark with this woman. That's the reason why she continues to have a job in Hollywood at this point.
I mean, you say continue to have a job, but even to me, reading off those credits, it's like, yeah, okay, so maybe she has like a career in that indie or like A24 scene with like that bodies crap and all that. But that to me makes me feel like, oh, they literally sought her out because of those qualities. Like I can see Leslie Headland and Kathleen being like, what do we want? Oh, look at Amanda Stenberg. She's vaguely ethnic. She's queer. She's uses different pronouns. She's a feminist. She's blah, blah, blah. That's who we like get her for those reasons, not because she's like a great actress or anything, but because she hits everything they can to advertise her with. And that's clearly what they're doing. I mean, we have the interview going around where Leslie says everybody, it's like the gayest show possible, or the gayest Star Wars media yet, which it clearly is shaping up to be.
Yeah, it's just exhausting at this point. It's just absolutely exhausting. Here's my other little note on this one before we move on to our next one. Carrie-Anne Moss. If anyone's old enough to remember when Carrie-Anne Moss had that one episode of Baywatch, go back and pull that one up. It has been a stark fall from grace for her, and I'll just leave it at that.
I had no idea she was even in an episode of Baywatch. That's crazy. That's weird to think. I don't know why. That just doesn't click in my brain. And yeah, Leslie, no disabled Jedi yet, but with the push for disabled adventurers,
there's going to be a Professor X Jedi. Just give it time.
There will be. Like
well,
it's gonna happen.
Geode. There's a rock that's a Jedi. So what's stopping the wheelchair in space? I'll just put rockets on it.
Could they at least do something cool and make it like Yoda's chair that floats? Like make floating wheelchairs. Those make sense at least. Like if you want to have a wheelchair dungeon or like a wheelchair in space, whatever, okay, fine. You can do it without it being absolutely stupid.
No, Spencer, RJ McReady has a solution. It's borrowed from General Grievous, lightsaber legs.
I'd watch that. It sounds completely stupid, but whatever rule you have to come up with that says lightsabers don't cut through ground or whatever.
He just
to make
runs
that
really
happen.
fast, okay? So that way he doesn't have time to melt through. So you're good. He's like the
I'm in
Oscar
for that.
Pistorius of lightsaber.
I am literally in for that. Like I am 100%. That's the kind of goofy stuff that this kind of stuff should like explore instead of trying to convince us that it's this over the top super Game of Thrones introspective. We're going to comment on society type series, right?
I forgot they put Sentry in a wheelchair.
Yeah, they put Sentry in a wheelchair. Like everybody's going to be in a wheelchair. It's like, for example, I know we all saw the trailer for Venom that came out like earlier this week, right? Venom 3. It's going to be whatever. Those films aren't particularly like the greatest, but there's an ending moment where Eddie gives the symbiote to a horse, and the horse is like a Venom horse, and it's running across the country. And I watched that, and I was like, that's goofy. And I'm kind of here for it because they're just going whatever. They're not trying to pretend. They're not trying to say I'm anything better than what I am. And I don't know. Like, it's not going to be a great movie. I know that for a fact because none of the Venom movies have been. But I can at least give them a nod for like, all right, you're at least you're having fun. You're not huffing your own farts that hard.
At least you guys have accepted the fact that this is complete dog water, and then we don't have to like pretend that this is any good whatsoever. And it's like at that point, I kind of respect it. It's like the Adam Sandler approach. It's like we're just gonna get $30 million from Sony and then go film a movie in like the Bahamas, and this is gonna be bad, but who cares? It's in the Bahamas, and it's all covered by
exactly.
Sony.
Like he gets like a big vacation for him and all of his friends, completely paid for to wherever they want to go. And
it's like on that level, it's like I can't really hate. I mean,
right? Like
right?
like game recognized game. Like I can't be mad at you for playing within the rules.
Yeah.
So this is what Carrie-Anne Moss looked like back in the day compared to a few years ago. So
yeah,
I'll say she's aged pretty well.
Yeah, so her appearance in Baywatch was like 30 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's bonkers.
So old. Like, here's the way that I look at it.
And we're transformative, and we got the free use tag on.
Yeah, right. But no, so the setup for this episode, if I recall, is that she had a split personality because when she was a child, her sister died in like some kind of like icing incident, and she blamed herself. So this is like basically her other personality is a psychopath who bullies her more passive self, and then she locked Mitch up in a basement and tried to drown him till she died. And then at the very end of it, they thought that she's gonna go get some help.
I am looking at here. I'm going to shoot it over to you, Cider, in the private chat to pull up because so like Jacob just said, I went and I looked up the episode. I just wanted to, info. And like Jacob said, she portrays two different personalities, but like the one I just sent over, that looks like Nerdigans. I don't know why. Like I saw it and I was like, whoa, wait a second. Like was Nerdigans on Baywatch? There's like that photo.
Nerdigans, are you actually Canadian? Come out and reveal yourself.
We're gonna have to build that wall. If you're Canadian, that's where we're building the wall. We're putting it right up there.
Back.
I'm not
Send them
Canadian.
Back. Throw them over.
I'm sorry. I'm dealing with being a fussy kitty. I don't know what his.
Well, if you're Canadian, we can send him.
But no,
back
I'm not Canadian. I'm Californian, but I'm not Canadian.
Oh man, what's worse at this point?
No, I'd say Canadian is worse because you have Justin Trudeau there, who is a piece of crap.
And Seth Rogen and Sami Zayn and Justin Bieber and Drake and all the
Ryan Reynolds.
We really built that wall on the wrong border. That's all I'm saying.
What wall? But yeah. So then this guy died because he was really sad. He was really sad.
Yeah, that was
our main character comes in and she can't get through his force field because he's been meditating for 10 years, and apparently while you're meditating.
Cool.
Well, you don't need to like pee or poop apparently. So like for 10 years, he's just floating in there and people like apparently spin him around, dust him off, make sure his boogers aren't all clogging him up, But anyway, she can't get through his barrier. So she goes and gets a poison. Then she goes in and she's like, you want retribution? Dig this poison. He's like, yeah, okay. And he just drinks the poison and dies. That's that. He's like, I'm super sad that I ruined your life so many long times ago. I'm just gonna die now. Bye.
There's like a lot of leaps in logic. Like it's a lot of like, this happens in a story like this, so do it. But then they don't like build to it. I don't know why he feels bad. I don't know. I don't know. It's just a lot of, obviously they'll probably have a flashback episode, but I don't know what her mission is at this point. I don't know why her mission is. I don't know how her mission is. I don't know where her mission is.
So are you implying that they even put any effort into the plot of this television show?
I mean, so far as it was like, this person will hit on this person, and this person will hit on that person, and this person will hit on that person. Subscribe to my Tumblr page.
So this guy, he was one of the ones that rescued the main character from the fire. She believes that her sister is dead. I think it's the other way around. That the Jedi rescued O.R.C.A, and O.R.C.A believes that May is dead. And so they're estranged and don't like each other and ended up on opposite sides of the Force. Now, as for the plot, the Acolyte is based on the main character we see with the dreadlocks, the woman with dreadlocks. Her name is May. I think that's May. And this person is instructed by a man wearing a space hockey mask that has a witness protection filter on to go out and kill a bunch of Jedis, but don't do it with weapons. Because you're an Acolyte and you don't use weapons to kill the Jedis. But then she stabs Carrie-Anne Moss in the chest with a blade and whatever. Those don't count. That's cutlery, I guess. You cut your steaks with that, not kill people, so it doesn't count. But anyway, poison apparently isn't a weapon either. Apparently, poison's not a weapon, even though that's the expressed purpose of poison. You don't just take poison and go, I get some scope cyanide here today. I'm gonna wash my mouth out with some scope cyanide.
Yeah, anyway, you don't wake up and you have your vitamin D like pill and then you're shot.
Vitamin death, yeah, like, vitamin death pill, yeah.
Rat poison.
But that's just what happens here. Is that she just says like, you feel guilty about what happened, have some poison, and he's like, cool, and that's what happened.
Yeah, like it's so anticlimactic. I don't even really have a lot to say about it because it was like boring. It was just there was nothing. It was no development. I didn't feel anything. I don't care about her struggle yet. I don't really care about disasters happening in the Star Wars universe because it kind of happens to everybody.
You should care about her struggles just because.
We literally just and
we
my
should,
freak out was,
but I don't.
My freak, yeah, right. My freak out there was because I just realized this, but like we just had a Star Wars television series on Disney Plus that centered around a black woman whose entire Jedi Order was slaughtered, but now she's a Sith and she's going out and trying to get revenge on the Jedi. That is literally Reva from Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's the same damn plot line. That's why, like, I don't care about your tragedy. Everybody has gone through tragedy at this point in Star Wars. It's just another run-of-the-mill day. Sort of like, oh, in Marvel Comics or DC Comics, your parents are dead? Well, guess what? Literally everybody's ours. It's not an original thing anymore. It's just, it's boring. It's predictable. I didn't even realize that. They have one note now.
I want to say this though: the struggle with my cat is probably more entertaining than what you have been describing.
Yes, Nerdigans, we do have a question for you. Leslie Tarkin would like to know the name of your cat.
Oh, this is Zeno. Well, Zeno.
Maybe not with the accent inflection. It's Zeno. It's Zeno.
Zeno.
Yeah,
he is my little baby.
So there you go.
Very fuzzy.
He's called lunch.
Oh, but then the Jedi that played by the guy that thinks Anakin blew up the lightsaber when he cut it in half. He used his lightsaber as a flashlight. That's what you do now.
Like, well, it's stupid because there's a line. There's a line in one of the very first lines of the series is when May is fighting Carrie-Anne Moss. And Carrie-Anne Moss draws her lightsaber, and May goes, "We all know a Jedi doesn't draw their lightsaber unless they're ready to kill." And it's like, first of all, no, we've seen it happen a bunch of times where they have it out not to kill. Second, yeah, now he's just using it as a lightsaber or like a flashlight. So is he going to kill everybody around him? You guys aren't even consistent in your own attempts to be deep. Like that's the entire thing we talk about. Say one thing right
Stop
here.
trying to pretend like you know how the Star Wars universe works. Clearly,
I
you
clearly
hire
don't.
people who clearly don't know what they're doing.
You don't just hire them. You like actively pursue them. It's not like they even like applied. They were like, oh, we want you to do this. We want you, Harvey Weinstein's assistant, who claims to have never known that anything was going on, which has got to be complete horseshit. We want you to be in charge of our new Star Wars show. Come on,
guys,
aboard.
I'm an ally for the non-binary people now, so don't look at all that Harvey Weinstein stuff anymore.
It's literally the Kevin Spacey defense, and I don't know why Disney decided. Like, well, I mean, obviously we know why Disney decided, but it's like, how did it? I don't know. Like, it's like, why did it? Why? How? Why is it going like this? Where are we at? What is happening?
Remember that time Anakin cut the Death Star in half with a giant lightsaber and saved?
That's canon. That is 100% canon.
Creed did the soundtrack. It was there. It was Michael Bay's best movie.
Oh my god.
I was talking to you, right, Cider? Like, this is just Rebel Moon. We have gotten to the point where Star Wars is just Rebel Moon. It is Star Wars fan fiction where they take a bunch of set dressing from Star Wars, but then they change everything. They want to make Star Wars their own, but in making it their own, it is fan fiction. There's no sense of continuity. Like Jacob said, making fun of, oh, you think you know how Star Wars works? It's like, well, we used to, until everybody decided it's going to work how I want it to work and screw everybody else. Again, Marvel's or Disney's creative energies now are literally, they have taken all the bad lessons from comic books, and that's how they run their business now.
Or they brought the people from comic books over
they brought, I mean, don't forget, Zeb Wells is freaking writing a bunch of the future Marvel projects, and he's the current guy on Amazing Spider-Man, so it's going to be bad. But yeah, like, Disney at this point is like, make everything, throw in cameos, try to make it super deep, and go ahead and play with whatever rules you want. And that's all the stuff from comic books that we went, this is where we get tired. This is why you're losing readers. And now they're just doing it on a larger scale. And they're focused on like sequels only, which is what a lot of comic books, thankfully, I think we're over that point. But if you remember, like, 2016, 2017, we had like Civil War 2, Inferno 2,
Civil War 2. Like, who thought of that was a good idea? Gosh.
Civil War 2 is so dumb. They don't even talk about like the main. Remember, they made up a character to act as like the catalyst for that entire event. And at the end of the series, he just blinks into non-existence, and they haven't talked about him again. That issue is so bad. I'm sure a bunch of people have this like around them locally, but there's a local like secondhand retail store in my area of Arizona where, people go and they'll trade in movies, video games, music, for cash, and then somebody will resell them. I was there the other weekend and I was browsing through all their comic books, and there are like 900 copies of Civil War II #1, the #1 issue. Like, that's normally the one that at the very least people would hang on to, and nobody wanted it. Like, it was such a bad move. I don't know why anybody wanted that.
Well, the eccentric banana in the chat says, it feels like a cheap knockoff. Disney Star Wars is the Chinese knockoff version. Timu Wars.
Yes. Oh my, that is such a good way of putting it there. Yeah, analogy there, because I had that thought, eccentric. There's a scene.
You know what?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Just honestly, that's even an insult to China at this point, because I'm pretty sure China could legitimately make a better Star Wars movie than Disney at this point.
They did ban parts of it. Remember, they banned Finn. They couldn't even put the black guy on the poster. So
that's one of the funniest like Disney disasters is the Finn poster. But yeah, at this point, I'm positive China could make a better Star Wars series. Just give them free range if you want, because we're clearly not doing anything like right with it. Like, it's just disaster upon disaster upon disaster. We might get something entertaining out of China. Like, not to toot China's horn, I hate them, but that's our best shot for entertaining Star Wars at this point. Let's see. Wait. Hey, it's me in HD, says Spencer. I'm ashamed it sits on my shelf. What sits on your shelf? What did I totally forgot what I just referenced. I know I said something, But Civil War 2. Yeah, it's okay. Hey, it's me and HD. We all have purchases on our shelves that we probably don't want anybody knowing that we made.
Yeah, I kind of sold most of those.
Speaking of letting people know what you made, Leslie Headland had the Tommy Wiseau experience in making this experience here, this Star Wars, this lesbian story, you see.
Directed by Leslie Headland.
Directed by Leslie Headland. Written by Leslie Headland. Created by Leslie Headland. Executive producer, Leslie Headland. There was nobody.
It's like it's literally
nobody
her
stopping
going like
her.
this.
It is her.
Yeah, she is the writing team. It is just they gave her the James Gunn treatment. They're just like, here you go, this totally unproven person absolutely BSing their way through every public engagement about this franchise, have an unobstructed control of root source material of a multi-billion-dollar globally recognized franchise. Have fun.
It's not even like control. They also, like, while you were recalling all that, I remembered this show for 6 episodes has a budget of 180 million reported, at least. So that's twice what Obi-Wan Kenobi had. They gave Leslie the keys to the giant franchise and the budget to do whatever she wants. Like,
Literally.
just completely do, like, she has the full funding, full grace to do everything. There is an interview she did, and it's the one that, like, it gets me go, like, it makes my blood boil when I think about it, where, pardon me, she was talking before the Acolyte came out about, oh yeah, guess what? I'm using a bunch of stuff from that we decanonized from the EU. I'm bringing that back in. Like, I'm canonizing it. I'm using it. And the interviewer was like, oh, really? Like, how'd that come about? And Leslie was like, I just wanted to do it. And Disney said I couldn't. So I just did it. So, like, she has literally got the keys to everything. And this is the best we're getting. We're getting Temu Star Wars. And, like, yeah, Eccentric, I was watching the episodes. There's a scene with Charlie, whatever his name is, Mr. Anakin beat the Death Star, where I just was watching it and I'm like, this feels like a Disney stage show, but not a full-blown stage show, but like one of the ones that happens every like 30 minutes in a certain area. Like, maybe the guy dressed as like Captain America comes out and has a little 4-minute fight with the guy dressed as Ultron or something, and then they go away. Like, that's what this show feels like to me. There's no effort, there's no soul. It's literally just watching one person's creative writing exercise. And if you're not the only people this show appeals to are Leslie Headland fans, which
No, Spencer, let me stop you there. The only people that this appeals to is Leslie Headland. She is the only people that this appeals to. Yes.
No, honestly, that's as far as my analogy was going to go. It's like it's
just like this meme.
Headland or people who like her.
It's just like this meme that Jacob has right here.
Yeah, this was literally her when she was writing the credits, giving herself all the credit for.
It was me, Kathleen. No, 100%. And the crazy part is, like, this is their Hail Mary. This is the thing that they are banking on revitalizing Star Wars. It's not going to happen, especially if all these rumors come true and you just completely say the Force is literally female and it has been female. Like, no way.
But this is the problem now. It's like they legitimately think that somehow this is going to appeal to the same demographic who watches like RuPaul's Drag Race, and then they're just going to have like a whole bunch of a new course of like LGBTQ Star Wars fans are just going to come plumbing in, and they're going to replace all the bigots who dare leave us because they don't agree with what we're doing with the Disney Star Wars. Like, that's the old. You have to be. Imagine how delusional you have to be to think that's
never happened.
Reality.
It never happens. We've seen this happen time and time again, whether it's Doctor Who, Star Wars, Marvel. Oh, all the bigots can leave. We don't need you. All those progressive fans that will, now that we're advertising to them, they'll know we'll exist. They're going to come on board. They don't come on board. They never come on board. They don't exist. It's a mystical idea. Like, it's just, it's delusion. It is straight up delusion.
Yeah, hey, it's me, and HD says Leslie Headland is what we thought Kane looked like under his mask. Yep,
Yes.
that's pretty good.
She also she doesn't try that hard to make herself look very photogenic. There are a lot of like featurettes on the Star Wars channel about like behind the scenes of the Acolyte, She just doesn't look good in it. Like it, and not like, yeah, she just doesn't look like she looks like she woke up from a hangover like 5 minutes prior and got on the interview chair. She doesn't look great.
Well, somehow she decided this was a picture that needed to be up, and I bless whoever put it up on the Wikipedia. But this is Leslie Headland sitting on a bucket.
That's not even flattering.
I don't know.
Like,
But
that's
this is her picture on the Wikipedia.
There's your new herald of Star Wars. And remember, this show was coming out right after George Lucas came out and was like, yeah, they don't know what they're doing. Like, George Lucas was at what is it, Cannes, however you say it, and he gave this whole talk about, yeah, they don't know what they're doing with the Force. They don't know what they're doing by making it an activist platform. Like, they don't know what they're doing. It's spectacular that they think this is going to be the home run that brings people back to Star Wars, because for all intents and purposes, it looks like it's going to be the thing that pushes out the last remaining bit of people who were trying to give it a chance. Like,
it's funny that you bring up.
Just real quick before you go on to that one, and keep in mind what they're really trying to do with this one is that this is essentially going to be the jump off point for when they do that Rey Star Wars movie, because all of this is going to be back into that film. So this is only a small taste of what you're going to get in the next feature length film when it comes out in movie theater. So buckle up.
If it comes out in movie theaters, remember Obi-Wan was supposed to be a movie too, and they learned halfway through that wasn't going to work. So fingers crossed.
It can't be a movie. People they gotta realize that people do not want a Rey movie.
Won't stop them from pushing it. Yeah, they don't care.
You're gonna get a Rey movie, and you're gonna like it.
They are desperate over there. Look at the projects they have right now, right, Nerdigans? They have a Rey movie and they have a Mandalorian movie, like the Mandalorian.
Mandalorian movie, like especially if they can bring back Gina Carano, that might actually
never happen. They will never do. They will never do that. But to that point, Nerdigans, if you look at that, that sort of shows you who they have left to appeal to, and that is people who like the Mandalorian, which is significant. Like, it's surprisingly like the Venn diagram of like, I know Star Wars and I watch the Mandalorian is not that big of an overlap. Like, there's a lot of normies who just watched the Mandalorian. Yep. So you have that group to appeal to. And then with the Rey movie, you have the only Star Wars fans who are the only Star Wars fans who remain, which are the ones who liked all of that stuff, which is a very, very minimal amount of people. If you go and you try to reverse course right now, Disney has done so much damage that nobody's going to trust them. From a business standpoint, they announce, oh, we are retconning everything. We're getting rid of all that stuff. All of us would go, we don't trust you. How are you going to screw it up this time? Like, I don't buy it. And then all the other fans, like the consumers, are going to go, I can't believe you gave in to the chuds. Oh, I wasn't buying this anyway, but now I'm super not going to buy it. Like, so this is all they have left to do. They are lying in the grave that they dug. That's all they have left to do. And it's spectacular. A reboot has to come at some point. And I'll take
but here's the thing though, that they've already passed the window for any possible reboot. Like I said, it's been over 5 years since the last Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
they had a dead period there where maybe if they had moved things back in a direction that people could have come back in, they could have gotten away with it. But now they've just tripled down. So now you've set back any kind of possible like reboot point at least another 10 years.
That's every time they keep tripling, like quadrupling, whatevering down, that kicks that full-on reboot bucket just like further down the line. Unless you do the thing, remember, unless they just don't care. I'm reminded of Spider-Man. Remember, they were like, oh, we rebooted it with Andrew Garfield, and then like a year later, after 2, they were like, oh, now we're gonna get Tom Holland, and here's a Tom Holland movie, and we're just gonna go with it. So maybe they get desperate and they just go, yeah, here's Star Wars 2. But yeah, no, I'm kind of with you. They are.
Yeah, I mean, if they haven't gotten
committed to
desperate
this.
yet, even when the movies were flopping in the movie theaters, I just don't see it happening at this point. Like, I think they're just done.
I mean, speaking to the theme of the month, if you will, what you're seeing is just pure pride. People at Disney, whether it's Iger or Kennedy or Filoni or Feige or whomever, they don't want to go, yeah, we screwed up. Like, we didn't do great. They will not take an L, and they'll do everything in their power to try and shift, or what do you call it? Like, yeah, control the narrative to make you think that they are the business geniuses, that they are the ones, that they are the reason that there's any success whatsoever. Star Wars would have been completely dead if it wasn't for Kathleen Kennedy. Don't you know that, nerdigans? Right? Like, come on. Nobody was doing comic books or video games or television shows or anything before Disney came along. We need to thank them every day.
Oh God, it sounds like what we were talking about in Barroom with the WNBA, how entitled they are. God.
Hey,
they are entitled.
Same group too, right? The
Yeah.
lesbians that hate Caitlin Clark are the same ones in charge of Disney, baby.
The thing is, though, and like we talked about this too, we women, one, we hate each other, and two, we're too stupid. Well, not stupid. That is, well, stupid. Yeah.
No, it's
good. Some of the women.
Too caught up. We're too caught up in our own ego to like admit that we're wrong about something. We just won't do it because it's our own pride and ego.
I mean, I'll say this.
Whatever we have to do, we'll drag everyone down with us until like to prove a point.
I'll say this,
ridiculous.
like Conan, who's a former pro wrestler, big in like WCW back in the day, so you might know him. He runs shows for AAA, which is down in Mexico, and he said this multiple times over and over again. It's like every time he has some kind of like drama related incident with people in the locker room, 99% of the time it involves the women. That's just the way that it is. It's like every single time, like somebody said something to someone and got offended, and then this whole thing, or somebody slept with somebody's boyfriend, and now I gotta deal with it. I don't have enough crap to deal with.
Dead, did he dead, dead. Dead.
That is dead.
But what she could really use is the reviving touch of the black man.
Yeah, but there's no this one, so you know.
True. We're not supposed to have black people. Like, there's no white men either in this. That's the other thing that's spooky. But
Like I was saying this on Twitter because we haven't seen like Blizzard or Activision put like, as I've been calling it, yassified their profile pictures or anything.
Right,
and something I was joking about, I was like, does Activision or Blizzard like have to do something really stupid to change their profile pictures?
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of companies aren't. Well, you do now. Elon's Twitter, if you change your profile picture, you lose your check for like a month. So that's why they're not changing it. But before you think I'm defending them per se, if they really, really, really gave a shit about, social progressivism and making a statement, they would do it anyway. They wouldn't.
Square Enix did it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Square Enix, Insomniac, like several of them did, but they didn't put a pride tweet out for a good chunk of them. I've noticed that.
Those sons of bitches.
I've been keeping an eye out for it. Like, it's weird. You see a bunch of the companies have changed their profile pictures, and to like
because they can't. Yeah, they can't.
they have changed it, but they didn't put out a pride tweet like some of the other companies have. It's weird.
Womp womp.
Yeah, I really don't care about. I don't need personal affirmation about my lifestyle or who I am from mega corporations.
I just think it's weird because usually
but that's what I'm saying is to me, I don't really care. To me, I see that as a positive because who cares? Who really gives a shit about any of this? Like, you're gay, congratulations. I'm straight.
Well, Spencer, what she's saying is that today the sewage did not overflow into the street, and that is a strange occurrence, as usually in June, the sewage is in the street. Yeah. And that's what she's saying.
That is fair. That is completely true.
Then the other thing that was weird is that MLB, they did their, pride tweet and they had the pride profile picture, right? Next day, changed it to something else and haven't changed it, which
Right.
I thought was very.
Well, let's be very honest here. Ever since that dude last year showed his tits in front of the White House, it pretty much like ruined everything for Pride Month and going after that. They got so
Was
much
that during
backlash
Pride
after that.
Month? Was that a Pride thing? I can't remember. I
Was it-
remember the event, and I remember how like
Yeah.
low point it was for the country. I just can't remember if it was specifically like Pride, like during the month. I know it was like a pro LGBT event. I just don't remember if it was like June specifically. I'm just being pedantic. Keep going.
No, it was last year's Pride Month. It was last
Okay,
year.
But
cool.
the other thing I
Okay.
do want to point out before we get into this as well is something that I thought was very interesting, and my some of my Japanese followers pointed this out, is that Square Enix has yesified their profile, but it's only the American branch. The Japanese branch didn't do it.
Right.
Their profile is still the same.
That's
Which is
because
very
America puts too much. American idiots put like too much stock on being validated by these corporations. A lot of Japanese gamers, they're not going to care if the company validates like their entire existence. Are you making a good game? Great. Then I will, enjoy your product. It's only the American, like the Western terminally online activists who go, I need you to validate everything I'm doing 24/7. And if it is not about me at this moment, then you're committing a hate crime. Like it's always violence. You're being so violent to me because you didn't put up a tweet. You didn't do this. You didn't do it's like you were saying earlier, words don't mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
We have a note from X over on X. Worth It or Woke reviews says numerous NFL teams didn't do anything for Pride Month this year.
Yep.
That's correct.
There's there's 8 now.
Yep. Well, the thing is that I do believe that incident with the NHL with the hockey, where they the team elected to resist it and the stadium was in an absolute support of it. And that was like 2 years ago, I think, or a year and a half ago, that hockey team didn't wear it and the stadium was like, yeah, that's the best thing ever. And I think that got through. I think that was the part where they were like, we could lose the crowd on camera. We can't have that happening. So they just said, okay, we're not going to say anything good about it, but we're not going to say anything bad either. We're just going to hold our breath.
Remember, it was
until
even
it's
before
over.
then. It was the whole thing with the Tampa Bay Rays team, and then they were trying to pressure a whole bunch of hockey teams last year into wearing the Pride jerseys, and a bunch of Russian players refused to do it.
Yeah,
they
the
were all
Russians
Eastern
did.
Orthodox,
Yeah.
and they were the ones that were like, "Yeah, I'm not wearing this, and you're not gonna like shame me into wearing it." So,
well, then I remember, I think it was last year, Jacob, might have been like 2 years before, but when did that whole scuffle or like dust up with the Dodgers and the anti Catholic drag
I think it was
organization?
last year.
I remember that.
Was that last year?
Yeah.
That was a big thing. That was such a big thing that even me, I'm secular. Y'all know I'm secular. Or even I was like, ooh, no, that's a bad move, Dodgers. It's like, that's a bad move.
Even Clayton Kershaw had to come out and be like what are you guys doing? Like, why?
That's right. I forgot about that. So yeah, it's maybe things are starting to get through to them, or at least they're hiding it. I have no idea.
It sounds sad to say, but we have to say it. Have we finally reached a point where Americans have had enough? Have we finally reached that point where
Honestly,
Americans are done?
I kind of think we are at that point, and it's like you'll have nobody to blame but yourselves, because it went from equality activism to just me, put us in everything. We got to be on everything. You've got to acknowledge us at every turn. Where it's just like, dude, I'm tired. Like, I don't care anymore. It's sort of like, it's the same logic I have with, sort of circling back YouTube ads, right? If I watch something and I keep getting YouTube ads or ads, whatever, from a specific company, I will go, I hate you. I'm never going to use your products again because it's been like an hour and I've had to hear you 9 different times. And that's how I feel now. Like, I don't care if you're gay. I don't really want to support, whatever. Just shut up. Let me play my video games, damn it.
I think I've even made this reference a couple of times before too. It's we talked about, what was that show, Degrassi? And there was
Yeah.
the character. What was the character named Marco, who was like the gay character of the show? And I've said this before too. Like
Drake?
even 20 years ago, when those episodes were on, it was like I was just completely indifferent to it. It was just like I didn't have like any
Right.
interest. Oh, it's the gays. And it's like I just don't care. Like these, I know these episodes aren't for me, so I just generally don't care. And it's like you've taken someone, and this is the problem here. It's not like you've taken people who have always hated the gays. You've taken people who generally was just indifferent about this whole thing. And you've put them in a position where now they're forced to not like you.
Yeah, like because all the gays wanted and was just to be left alone for the most part. At least the gay people that I know in California, they just wanted to be left alone. And just have their, just have their time to celebrate and just be left alone. Now you have like this whole thing with the corporations pushing, and also politicians pushing it a little too far. And now now it's to the point where it's getting too much, and they're just getting annoyed.
And also, we're coming for your kids.
Yeah,
that played a lot.
I was about to say, remember Drag Queen Story Hour? Remember that hill they wanted to die on?
Yeah, like here's the problem, and this is what a lot of gay people have told me, is that you have activists and also a toxic minority known as MAPS hijacking the gay community.
Well, don't even call them a toxic minority. That's like validating their existence. MAPS are pedophiles. Let's be completely clear here. MAPS are pedophiles and do not deserve rights. Do not refer to them as like a minority.
No, see, this is the real problem, though, is that now everyone is attaching themselves to this LGBTQ rainbow now. And it's like, you've gotten this to the point where it's like, oh, it's all encompassing. So now we're just having straight up predators all in here as well. So, which only validates the hate against it even more now, because it's like, remember, the whole thing was when people were saying 20 years ago, oh, well, if you legalize gay marriage, it's going to lead to this. And you said, oh, you guys are silly. You guys are being a bunch of wackos. Now you're literally in the thing. You did the thing that you said that people said you were going to do 20 years ago, justifying that, hey, maybe those people were right when they were saying don't do this thing 20 years ago in the first place. Because now we're, like I said, now we're having to call them MAPS because we don't want them to feel bad by just calling them pedophiles, because they go after kids now.
I have been watching old SVU episodes just for like background noise, and an old South Park episodes. There are so many episodes about like, oh, we love children and we're trying to like show we're activists and we're going to make it valid, and everybody treats them like the disgusting filth they are until now. Now there's actual people who want to get them in the movement.
Vice wrote an article about this. Remember, like Vice talked about this. Like
I don't remember because I don't pay attention to those
multiple. Vice has written multiple articles trying to sympathize with the pedophile in various ways.
Like
them, Slate, a few other outlets have slowly done this.
They tried to say MAP is an actual sexuality. I was like. And then they tried to attack anime and manga, saying that they're Japan's pedophile.
We all remember that one.
It's like, what? Wait a minute, something is wrong here.
And this is exactly why
But
this is exactly why they're trying to normalize the sexual identity of kindergartners now, because what they're trying to do is that they say, well, if you have a 3-year-old like Charlize Theron's daughter, quote unquote, is old enough to change his gender, be mature enough to make the decision at 3, then what other decisions at 3 can they be mature enough to make? And that's really the right next door that this whole thing is going to go to.
No, it 1,000% is. Like, yeah, I have nothing to add to that. It is like Jacob's on point. Like.
It's just, that's why I was like, it's getting too much. And when you have the gay community flat out saying they know that these people have hijacked the community, it's like, dude, why aren't you guys doing anything about it? For one thing, if you know who these people are, get them out. And I've said it to I've said it several times through over the years. I've said in regards to the trans community, I'm like, you have these people trying to straight up groom feminine gay men and tomboys. Why aren't you doing about it? It's been breeding on Reddit for several years, and I've heard like horror stories about it. How like these people were traumatized by them.
I am.
By the way, there's not enough men smoking in this picture. By the way.
right? Like,
But yeah,
this
like
is
it's like
just a
they're not.
mood.
Yeah,
That's the
where's
thing.
the, where's the Ben Affleck? Where's the Keanu? We need more.
Oh
Ben
my God, Ben Affleck. I almost feel bad for Ben Affleck at this point. It's like you don't have to like a guy to be like, dude, when you just get like hit like
No,
one
yeah.
after another, it's like, come on. It's just like,
Give him
Like,
a
come on,
win.
man. Like, we're not friends, but like,
yeah.
you just like you can do better. Like, it's come on for the
I mean,
for the
the
good of men, you
has-
can do better.
The dude has literally like looked like he's about one step away from just jumping off the highest bridge for like 10
Yeah.
years now. And he just got out of one divorce. Now it looks like he's in another divorce. And then his daughter came out as trans at like her grandfather's funeral. Just like it's just one thing after another. Just like, oh, okay, look, I might not like you, but I mean, it's getting kind of rough out there.
Right? Like, I don't like you, but man, I'll
Exactly.
buy you a beer. I'll buy you a beer. You need one.
Let's take a meme break for just a second. We're talking a lot of gay stuff. Let's talk about something very heterosexual, okay? So, Father, I started reading Sword Art Online. Boromir would have been berserk.
Oh, that is 100% what Theron would say.
Like, yeah,
I mean,
I saw
Don't
that and I was
read.
like,
Don't
okay,
do
we need a break from
SAO.
the gay. There it
No
is.
SAO. SAO should be banned from everywhere.
Boromir would have read berserk.
Yeah.
Oh well.
So this is where we're at now.
See,
By the way, I believe we were going to talk about trans bullets, but I guess the too
Yeah,
long
we can
didn't
still
read
talk
version
about
of this whole
that.
thing
We
is
should.
that Call of Duty has now
Jacob got
added
it.
trans bullets to the gaming thing, which is like this has to be probably one of the biggest backfires of all time because
Oh,
the
yeah.
memes that have been associated with the trans bullet thing, where it's like everyone's just dropping the 45-50% memes, and it's just like, why did you even set yourself up?
KD
Like,
ratio.
it's like
I've been
KD
dying
ratio.
from that. I'm like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, Activision, you really set yourself up here.
This is
really
literally
did.
this is literally the Heisenberg screaming in the car meme. Like when they made this,
my favorite one to come out of this, and it's only on TikTok, is a group of gamer guys are together and they're talking about they're just about to go, the countdown's going down, or just about to go in, and it's the guy says, "Okay, guys, remember they misgendered us in the voice chat. Let's go." And then
remember, no Russian, or remember, no
Kills
gender.
me. They misgendered us in the voice chat.
No, that's something that I could see like in modern Call of Duty, like online. I could see it happening. Especially like I could see, like,
50% of the
people
opposing
doing
team have
it.
committed suicide. It's weird.
Yeah, right. They got spring winded.
Oh my
Nobody
God,
remembers what
it's-
spring wind means. It means we get banned.
Like,
No.
I have to wonder if Activision's going to do something like add more gay merchandise or something to like get this under the rug, or throw this under the rug, or cover it up. Or
Well, okay, so they tried, all right, because I guess that they realized the error in their ways, and they were like, "Quick, we got to come up with something." And they were like, what other franchise kills people a lot? Oh yeah, Gundam." And so they gave birth to this, and at first I was really excited, and I'll show you some gameplay that changed in my mind. But first, let's take a look at the muted trailer because I don't feel like getting struck. So
Especially by sunrise in Japan, yeah, they'll go
Right.
crazy.
So here you go. Here's the footage. Here's the game trailer footage of someone wearing Gundam armor, right? And they are human-sized, going about Call of Duty missions. This is the skin that they're selling. Now, I'll remind you, this happened 4 days ago. Okay, what happened 6 days ago? What
Pride
happened
Month
6
started?
days ago? Yeah, Pride Month started. And what?
Oh,
Oh,
that's
yeah, the
weird.
bullets. Yeah. Anyway, so here's the Gundam thing. It's really cool.
A
You go
little
around
bit of
shooting
misdirection.
things.
Look over here.
Yeah.
Right, and now this is where the Gundam comes in. All right, so but now they're doing 3 skins with it. They're giving you the red Zaku, which is front and center. They knew where everybody was gonna want it. Everybody's gonna want to get. They knew Char's the best. There's nobody lying here.
100%.
But they got Gundam 79, RX 79 over here, 78 rather, and the aerial Gundam for the female player model, right? So now that you've seen that, let's go take a look at the gameplay. And it is predictably ass. Look at this. Look at how goofy he's running. Look at that. Look at how goofy that looks. The rifles
That's like
clip through the
PS2
jetpack.
stuff. Like what is this? What is this PS2?
This is like mobile game, like a mobile game collaboration. This is
But wait,
not
it gets
great.
dumber. Here we go. Look, he's clapping along the wet streets there. He's slide canceling. His friend's right there. He's like his enemy team. Wait, what are you gonna do with that glow stick? It was then he knew he fucked up. What? But wait, he got struck with the lightsaber, right? The beam saber, as we know it. But it's a lightsaber at this size.
Yeah.
Now, watch what happens. There's no body.
What?
It just poofs into nothing.
They didn't even give the red Zaku a death animation. It just evaporates into Tinkerbell farts.
I'm gonna make a reference here that only you old school real gamers are gonna understand here. Does anyone remember a little game from the PS2 called Drake of the 99 Dragons?
Hell yes.
This is exactly what this reminds me of, and this is a PS5 game. Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
like that's how bad we are at. Yeah.
This looks like a mod. Yeah, this looks like a mod. It looks like somebody modded Call of Duty to like have some sort of Jet Set Ram Gundam Bukake.
No, that's an insult to mods. Like mods would do a way better job.
It's true. This is like a Gmod mod then.
This is like a first time mod.
Yeah. Well, this right here, right? So this
gosh,
it clips right through the jetpack. So nobody cared. It was just a skin slapped together. So this is what tells me that as soon as that Pride Bullet thing didn't work, and they were like, uh-oh, they scrambled, called Sunrise. They're like, hey, can we throw some shit together? And you guys say it's okay. And they're like, yeah, whatever.
Help.
And they went with it because this is the rifle's clipping right through. Straight through the jetpack. Nobody cared where the weapons were supposed to go on this thing. It's not like the jetpack is mandatory either. So anyway, this is what they did in order to compensate for the trans bullets. I promise you. And it's not going to work. I was really excited about this. Then I saw this gameplay and I was like, this is dumb. This is goofy. I want the little SpongeBob noises when he's running. Like the squeaky, 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 squeaky thing when he's running, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'll take you back to the beginning. Look at him running. Squeaky, 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 squeaky. It's like SpongeBob noises. But yeah, it's ridiculous.
So bad.
He's like running with one of those.
It costs real money, by the way. It costs you real money to play or to use.
Can a fan not just save this? Like seriously.
I can do this in my sleep.
They can't save it because this is online, so you can't use mods online. So if you want to play online, you have to watch it or you have to play it in this awful state.
It just evaporates. You touch him with your idol dance concert glow stick, and he just bursts into cum dust.
Zeno, you wouldn't play with this, right?
What?
Zeno said no. He says it's bad.
See, the cat even knows that this is terrible.
But like someone was saying, a lot of people in the comments were saying, because I asked Gundam fans what they thought of this. They said, Bandai Namco, we want Dynasty Gundam Warriors. Just bring it back. Like just make it already.
We'll never have another one. I've already accepted that. Yeah, exactly, Aki. Gundam Breaker it is. They have actual Gundam games that are better than this. There's a new one coming out. There's like a new one in development that you can super customize your own suit. And I'd much rather play that than this is weird.
My best guess was that guess is that Sunrise greenlit this in order to test what people would think about a Call of Duty style Gundam kind of military game where like you have a search and destroy function and you like, spawn every round. So it would be Call of Duty but with Gundam. So they're just experimenting with the Western marketplace to see if there would be an audience. Kind of thing. Correct. So if they would just copy and paste Call of Duty in and you'd be able to play as Barbados, you'd be able to play as Tall Geese, whatever you'd like to do.
That would be kind of sick.
Yeah, and I think that's what Sunrise is testing here because Call of Duty's run its course. I don't know if you've noticed or not.
Yeah, Call of Duty run its course years ago.
Yeah.
Like at least a decade ago.
The caption to that video I showed you says if you take this video back 10 years, no one would believe you that this is Call of Duty.
I mean, if we're being completely honest, like both Call of Duty and Battlefield has pretty much fallen off hard over the last like 10 years. Like there was a brief period there where they had like some kind of competition by like 2009, 2011 between that time period, but they both fell off very quickly around there.
I would say Call of Duty fell off probably around what, like obviously after Modern Warfare 2. What would it be? Like Modern Warfare.
It was still popular, I think, up to about Black Ops 2, and then that's kind of where the decline happened.
That's 100% what I was gonna say.
Yeah, Black Ops 2. Yeah, I would agree. This was definitely after Infinity Ward left, obviously. So it was probably a couple games into Treyarch. Yeah. That sounds right. Because it was the same thing with Halo too, right? It was the same thing with Halo as well. It was like a few games into 343 was when Halo fell off. Because I've seen people say they like
Halo fell off immediately when 343 got a hold of it. Halo 4 was not good. Halo 5 was not good. Halo, everything in between was not good. Halo Infinity was okay. And then they screwed it up really bad.
Yeah, they said like I've seen like so many people say that Halo fell off immediately after Reach.
Yeah, and that was the last Bungie one. That was the last one they made, and then it was 343 with 4, and that was just nobody liked
Reach was even a Reach because Reach had just so much extraneous stuff.
It did.
Like the Cell is Master Chief. It doesn't matter anybody else who try to stick in that driver's seat. Even ODST experienced this. The Cell is Master Chief, being this 8-foot tall, like badass that doesn't flinch, except when Cortana gets her feelings hurt. That's when you go out, get crazy and mad. But the rest of the time, you're just smashing alien skulls left and right, no problem. So again, like that's the allure. So when you stepped out of that, even with Reach, they felt that immediately when you step away from Master Chief. Just don't abandon the green guy. It's that simple. Keep his helmet on.
I'm definitely there with the keep the helmet on. I am a big fan of Reach and how they did it, but I agree. Like, you gotta have Spartans at least. Like the ODST one was like a nice. I think ODST was the perfect way to do a non-Spartan title, which was like it's quick. It's like a piece of DLC essentially. We're not gonna like hang around for a while. And imagine if Reach was a full-blown game, but instead of even being Spartans, you were just regular humans. It would. That's where you go, what are we doing here? Yeah, like why am I here?
It's absolute pain. But we do have more pain on the way. I don't have anything to bring up because nobody brought me a link because I can't find it. We do have rumors about the Avengers 5 movie being a clown car.
Oh God.
I can't.
You guys have a post because I can't find one. I got a bunch of people making memes, but I can't. So people are talking about this a lot right now, so it's very hard to find like a discussing film post.
So while Jacob goes looking for it, I can give a quick breakdown. So basically, there is a rumor coming out of one of the trades, either Variety, Deadline, The Hollywood Reporter. They're speaking to their insider sources, and apparently, the big overarching news that they revealed was that Sean Levy, the guy who is currently doing Deadpool and Wolverine, he is being considered to do the like Avengers Secret Wars, Avengers 5, all that fun stuff. But in revealing that, their sources also revealed that it's looking like Secret Wars is going to have everybody come back. 60 characters from across the MCU and other Marvel movies, and they're all going to have equal play. Like that's, I think, the most insane part about it. Marvel. So remember, in Infinity War Endgame, we had all the Avengers and all the characters, but it's still focused on that core, like Cap, Widow, Hawkeye, Iron Man. Like they were still the core team. This movie is going to be just like a vignette of like 5-minute short films for each hero. I don't know what the hell they're thinking here. This is just like cameo. This is terminal cameo.
Well, I mean, look, if you guys have been paying attention to the show long enough, I told you like this was literally going to be the plan, especially after the whole Jonathan Majors thing blew up in his face. I told you Secret Wars, when they get to it, they're going to have everyone who's ever been in any Marvel movie ever in one film. So that means if you were in a Blade movie, a Fantastic Four, an X-Men, Wolverine, Spider-Man, if you've ever been in any, if you were in the Fantastic Four movie from the 1990s that they did just to keep the rights to the show. They're gonna bring back Motorcycle Captain America. It's like everyone is gonna be in this film. And this is what they're doing here. So this is the Deadline article talking about Sean Levy.
It was
Because like I said,
yeah.
they were going to give the keys to the castle to the guy who directed Ant-Man Quantumanium under the guise that Jonathan Majors was going to be Kang the Conqueror. And then when Kang the Conqueror ended up getting arrested and they fell apart, now they're like, so with no other plans, they're basically just going to fast forward Secret Wars into Avengers 5. I guess try to do maybe like a 2-part thing, so that way they don't have to come up with like a completely new storyline about how this whole thing is supposed to work.
Yeah.
And here it is here. They talked about the last 2 Avengers movies making like $1.5, $1.4 billion. And then here's the line here. So keep in mind, this is a movie, Avengers 5. It doesn't have a name right now. Doesn't have a director, doesn't have a writer, doesn't have a star, because the star of it, who was supposed to be lift off of, he's gone now too. So they literally have no idea what they're doing with this. They only have a script that recently came in, so that's assumed that's like a first draft. And Marvel has been working hard in the recent months to pull this together so shooting can begin next year. Because keep in mind, they already announced the date for when this is supposed to come out, but they don't have an idea what they're actually doing for the movie, which is always a good sign. And then sources close to both the project said that more than 60 MCU characters could reprise their role, including everyone from Mark Ruffalo, Chris Hemsworth, Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Hiddleston, Simu Liu, Karen Gillian, even bringing back all the people who have already died in previous MCU films. They can all come back for this absolute disaster of a movie too. So this is how desperate they are. Now, I will say this just real quick. I think that I can only imagine what the production budget of this movie is going to be when it's all said and done. It'll have to be somewhere about $400 million when it's all said and done, because in
Jacob,
their minds,
it's somewhere in the neighborhood of Bulgaria. Just start measuring it by nations, okay? So it's somewhere the cost of Bulgaria.
What is the GDP of the Czech Republic? Maybe that'll be exactly how much
roughly. Yeah, you can buy the Czechoslovakia. Yeah,
but they think because this is how the studio suits think, because they're stupid. Well, it's Avengers. Everyone loves it. We made $2 billion on the last Avengers movie, so we can go load up on a $500 million production budget for this film, because there's no way this movie isn't going to make $1 billion. And then the next thing you know, they'll go all in on this movie, and then it only says the opening worldwide was like $101 million. It's probably going to end up losing about $750 million when it's all said and done. They don't learn. They don't learn anything. Like there was a movie I think we were just talking about last night. It's Furiosa actually. Furiosa, we just talked about this. It's going on digital somewhere in the near future. That movie is legitimately going to lose, I would say, $350 to nearly $400 million when it's all said and done.
Wow.
It's going to be a massive loss.
It's already going to streaming. That's genuinely actually insane.
Well, I mean, I said it's been up almost.
Dude.
It's been out almost 2 weeks now. It's only made $118 million in those 2 weeks, and the film has a production budget of $168 million. So it's estimated that it needs to make at least $500 million worldwide before it even begins to break even. It's probably a little bit more than that. So you're probably going to end up losing about $400 million when it's all said and done.
Oh my god!
We do have some breaking news, guys.
Oh boy!
Where's the clip?
Leslie Tarkin has finished watching the Mad Max trilogy.
Finally, welcome aboard. So that's what Mad Max 1, Road Warrior, and Thunderdome.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. You've hit all the ones that you should watch. Fury Road's fun, but it's fine, and then Furiosa is just a snooze fest. It's just a snooze fest.
Yeah.
Again, I'm still not over that Furiosa was. They greenlit it when it was supposed to be filmed back to back with Fury Road, and then they went, oh no, we're gonna put it on the back burner for like 10 years, and then they said, oh yeah, now people want that Furiosa movie. It's like you missed that window so hard. So very hard.
And then we're gonna have a completely different actress play the role in the prequel film too. So it's like, sure,
Charlize is still around. She's still there. She can still hang out.
She's not dead.
Yeah, exactly. She's not dead. She hasn't done anything controversial in your sphere. Like, just get her in there.
Well,
I
and
mean,
again,
she's
you know,
supporting their sphere, but still.
you have this right here with this clown car of a movie that'll feature 60 characters returning to the MCU. Now, we know that the 60 MCU characters that will be returning will mostly be women. Now, you asked why they're doing this, and it's because they need to introduce everybody who's going to be in Secret Wars. So this is what they're doing. They're treating Avengers 5 as Infinity War, and Secret Wars is probably going to be Avengers Secret Wars, because calling it Marvel's Secret Wars is probably going to get through to anybody. They'll have to say Avengers Secret
Yeah.
Wars in order to get the mass audience to go, oh yeah, that's the one with Captain America.
I know that one.
And so that they'll go with that, and that'll probably be it. Is that 5 and 6, Avengers 5 and 6 will be a two-parter.
They might as well just bring back Chadwick Boseman in AI and just have him be in.
There's nothing stopping them.
They've discussed it. You know that conversation has been had already.
They did it.
I know it has.
They've got him. They've got to do something about that what if situation. If they bring in Captain Carter, who's alive, that means she comes from the what if universe or multiverse, whatever. And so you have that. You have now then the Star-Lord T'Challa, who is alive and doing things. So you have to ask yourself, why didn't he show up with Captain Carter?
Man.
Right? So and then they have Killmonger involved in this. You have to have T'Challa do something if they evoke this multiverse situation. See, when they say 60, I'm not limiting it to live action. I'm throwing everything they've envisioned into this. I expect Spider-Ham to show up.
There was a rumor a couple, I want to say like 6 months ago, maybe, from either Can We Get Some Toast or Hey It's Me in HD. Both of them pretty notable, pretty on point, where they shared a really badly photoshopped poster of like every Marvel thing, and they were like, "This is what Secret Wars is going to look like." And in that image is the the Spider-Verse versions of Miles and Gwen. So they're definitely going to do it. Like, I know those guys are coming in. Didn't we just have like a really big live action cartoon? I mean, maybe not big, but like Garfield's doing it. It can be done. It is what I'm saying. Like, it's very easy to do nowadays. It's not Who Framed Roger Rabbit level.
Right. It's not difficult anymore. You just put a guy in a green screen suit and have him walk around. And they just map it to that. But yeah, this right here though, with the clown car, I also believe that the live action black and white Nicolas Cage Spider Noir is tied to this, and it'll be born out of this. You will have the black and white. He will be in black and white. He will literally be on screen in gray tone, right? Grayscale, where everybody else is in full color.
Yeah.
Right. And you'll have him interacting with Spider-Ham because he'll be the only one there with Miles. They'll be like the Toon Team, you know? And that they'll be interacting Roger Rabbit style. I guarantee you, because they're going to try and get kids in on this. They've got to.
Oh, yeah. Again, like, this is going to be, you're going to see what, like, this is going to be the cinematic version, again, of like what comic books always do, where, oh, we need to bring in new readers. Let's reset everything with a big event. So now we get all the young readers and we can start, you know, here's the all new, all different X-Men and Spider-Man. And that's what they're going to do. Because, like, they have to reboot at this point. If you're doing Secret Wars with where Marvel is, you're going to reboot. And what are you going to do after that? Well, rumors are saying that they're going to take inspiration from all new, all different. So that means we're going to get Kamala, Miles, Riri, Falcon Cap, like all of that awful garbage. That's where they want to jump off of with this next round of financial disaster.
Jump is the operative word, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
But
yeah, like,
they got to subvert expectations, right?
Yep.
Well, that subversion of expectations is going to be, here's everybody, and then they're probably going to smoke them all, and then it's going to be, oh, but they're all reborn now in the new universe. It's just, if you have an old interpretation of a character, whether it's a Sony movie, whether it's that old Doctor Strange live action show from the 60s, whether it is, I don't know, something as recent as Earth's Mightiest Heroes, don't, like, be wary. It's going to get touched. It's going to get brought into the modern Marvel machine. And the second it gets mentioned again, they're going to either destroy it, like Dan Slott did with all the alternate Spider-Man universes and Spider-Verse, or they're going to milk the absolute hell out of it. Like, if Lou Ferrigno shows up, then we're gonna get a Lou Ferrigno cameo, maybe a Lou Ferrigno character, maybe a Lou Ferrigno show. Yeah, Edward Norton's there, and then we're gonna
Eric Bana's gonna come back.
We're gonna get a Hulk comic with like 3 different Hulks, and one of them's gonna look like him. Like it's gonna be so tiring. Just like, oh my gosh,
we're gonna pay Ben Affleck $20 million to not end himself so he can come back as Daredevil, and he'll be there with Charlie Day's Daredevil, and they'll have a Daredevil off, and then we'll get Jennifer Garner to be Elektra.
She's already confirmed. We know she's already confirmed because she was in the Hollywood copyright listing for some reason. She was like one of the headlining actors of the movie, so we know she's back.
And then Nicolas Cage will be back as Ghost Rider. He'll be back in
he'll definitely be back.
I know it's cheesy, but I like the Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider. I know it's weird.
We're not saying it's bad to like them or that they're they're not great, but they've got a charm.
They have that comic book cheesiness that that's
but what we're saying is like they're just going to get everything and they're just going to throw it at you. It is literally going to be if the plans for them to have 60 characters, 60 plus characters. By the way, I think it's really funny in that Deadline article where they go, 60 characters could come back, including like Mark Ruffalo and Simu Liu. And it's like, these are the actors who are already there. What are we like? They didn't leave. So you're their Deadline is burying the lead. Because like, yes, they'll be back. But what you're really saying is that here comes RDJ. Here comes Chris Hemsworth. Here comes Chris Evans. Like that's the meat of it. But for some reason you're focusing on the characters we all sort of Simu Liu doesn't have a career.
Here comes
of course
Howard
he's going
the
to show
Duck,
up.
dude. Come on, forget those other dudes. Here comes he just had 2 seconds of screen time, man.
They definitely will have him in there. But that like it is going to be member berries. Remember this? You know this shiny clapping key jangling the movie. There you can't have 60 main characters in something unless you have like a 5-hour, 6-hour movie. So
it'll be a 3-hour one. I guess.
But even then, I don't that to me now I'm just exhausted.
No, let me explain it because I'm
thinking about that.
That's what I mean, right?
I've done my magic trick here, okay? I've done my magic trick. My mutant power has manifested itself. So Captain America Brave New World, right? He said new beliefs, new ideas, everything like that. Now
I forgot about that, yeah.
And before, there had to be an impetus for this. There had to be some world-changing event that took place. Now, quite obviously, a political event has taken place, okay? Now, this would mean that the auxiliary Avengers of Sam's world, which means that's time-traveling old man Captain America and dead Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man, these guys, they're going to be brought back to life for whatever reason. Something is going to happen with the Infinity Stones. So my best guess is, as I'm connecting these dots, is something happens in the what if multiverse battleground where everybody has omnipotent God power. The Watcher's involved because they've stressed the Watcher in these past 2 what ifs. So, and his role in it. He's not just introducing you to the worlds anymore. He's actually participating in the story. So I think this is going to be through the lens of the Watcher at the end of Brave New World. You're going to have that moment where it like lenses back and you see that the Watcher's looking through and you see his reflection. Then the camera will pivot to him and he'll introduce that I am the Watcher. My purpose is to witness all,
And I make goofy jokes now because that's what the Watcher does.
But if you remember at the end of this last what if, him and Captain Carter departed toward the MCU.
Yeah.
So he will be arriving with her beside him and he'll say this. And this is Captain Carter, and we have come to your universe to warn you of a grave danger called the Convergence.
That's going to be the teaser sting to whatever movie they put right before it.
That'll be it. It's Avengers 5. Because this is what's going to happen in Brave New World. Avengers 5 will introduce the Watcher and Captain Carter coming to Earth. Avengers 5 will be called Avengers Convergence. That's what it'll be called. And then Secret Wars will be Avengers Secret Wars born out of Convergence. That's what it'll be. It'll be an Infinity War into Endgame scenario. So this is what will happen. So you'll get into this 60 character clown car. but that's only to service who's on the playing board as they go around interacting with these different realms. This is where they're collecting all the characters from, with the Watcher and Captain Carter, right? Which, of course, would be played by Haley Atwell, computer generated on top of a bodybuilder, a male, a man. And so the third part of this, though, when you get into Secret Wars, as you end with the Watcher having all of these people gathered together, and he starts explaining in depth, because he like leads them on this teasy kind of thing. I'm predicting this, okay? This is all a prediction if you're just tuning in. So he leads them around on this goose chase, right? But finally, at the end of the movie, he introduces that Dr. Doom is the greatest threat.
Oh,
and
there
then
he
he'll have
is.
a flashback. He'll have a flashback of not Echo, that the Native American superpowered girl that is Echo, but not Echo Girl, and not Echo Girl.
Yeah, the one
and
from
Captain
What If.
Carter
Yeah.
fighting the demons, stealing them away, and then the last flash will be Dr. Doom like doing the Friezaline at the beginning of the Dragon Ball Z intro, the kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he's like leaning over the entire arena where they've been fighting, and the glow of the light will be up on his face. And the Watcher will be back behind him again, like the top of his face. And he's going to say, "This is the greatest threat to the multiverse, and why all of you are necessary, Sari. And then you go into Secret Wars.
I want to see. Okay. Yes. And it makes me so like depressed that that's what it is, because it's just a movie long sort of collect-a-thon. Remember that scene in X-Men First Class?
It's Pokemon,
where,
but Marvel superheroes.
Well, it's like X-Men First Class where they go around and they sort of recruit everybody, remember? And then they go to Wolverine and they're like, and he goes, fuck off or whatever. It's going to be an entire movie of that. And here's why I think that. So there's Sider's theory, which I think is always, whenever Sider says a theory, just for a general bounding rule of thumb, I always agree with it, because I'm pretty sure that's his mutant power. But I think that once this movie starts getting made and once it starts hitting and like releasing, they're going to have a lot of really short vignettes for them to introduce these characters, or like maybe each character introduction is like a 2-minute scene total.
Super Smash Brothers trailer. It's a Super Smash Brothers trailer. A new Avenger has entered the field.
Yeah, they do that though. So then in the movie comes out, it can be TikToked really easily. And you get your 2-second clip of, oh my gosh, look who showed up in Secret Wars. And you get your ad revenue off of that. Like, I genuinely think that it's a scramble, right? They don't know. Nobody knows what to do with movies anymore. And least of all Marvel. So they're going to go, what do they like? Cameos and TikTok. Yeah, exactly, Nerdigans.
Well, that's what they were doing with Hercules. Remember that they were going to do like a TikTok thing for Hercules live action?
No, I don't. What?
You don't remember hearing that? Like, that's what I think. Who said it? Was it the director who said it? Was it Guy Ritchie that said it? It was a while ago, but they were saying that the Hercules live action adaptation was going to be based on, for the TikTok generation. I was like, what? Why? Like, people were furious about it too.
Like, they weren't going to put the episodes on TikTok. But what they were doing is they were going to take the spirit of TikTok being rapid information coming at you all the time. So it was going to be Hercules without his ADD medication, is basically what you were going to have.
Well, we did get that. Who was it? The Russo brothers came out like a couple months ago, and they were like, oh, the reason movies are dying are because younger audiences don't have attention spans anymore. We just need to change our ideas of media.
It's not that our movies are trash. It's that the Zoomers just with their 5-second Vine videos just ruin it.
Vine was not for Zoomers. Vine was us millennials. Like, that was a millennial thing, not a Zoomer thing.
He's making a joke.
Yeah,
it's the boomers talking about Vine.
Yeah,
that was the last time they were paying attention to anything.
Yeah,
that's.
But funny. Like, if that is those, I would say those two probably have the most current pull at Marvel. Like, if they walked into the offices, they would probably get whatever movie they wanted to direct over there, just because they made the last thing that people liked and did well, which was Endgame, Infinity War, right? Yeah. So if that's who's at the top of your sort of creative group, like your creative minds is the Russo brothers, and they think, oh, we need to start changing how our movies are made. Well, here comes a 60 character movie that's just going to be quick flash, quick flash, quick flash. Here's Iron Fist. Here's Luke Cage. Here's Spider-Man. Here's Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. Here's Ben Affleck. Here's Jennifer Garner. And it's going to be all that because that's how they think.
They're hoping that with sensory open. So this is what the this
Yeah,
is really what they're
that's a good
doing
way to
here
put it.
with
Yes.
this movie. Remember with like those Avenger reactions from like a few years ago when they were doing like Infinity War, and every time a character showed up on screen, the whole crowd would go, "Oh my God, it's this character from that one thing." That's what it's going to be. Literally just 3 hours of people showing up, and the crowd goes, "Oh my God, it's Dolph Lundgren as the Punisher!" I can't believe this. That's what they're expecting this film to be for 3 hours.
You know, maybe they'll
It's
pump
literally going to be
cocaine.
cameo the movie.
Maybe they'll pump vaporized cocaine into the movie theater for that real 4D experience. and that'll
Only
get 'em out of
if
their
you
chair.
only if you're in that private screening room in the White House. That's
Oh,
where
that's
you get
true.
that
Yeah,
treatment.
where they showed Birth of a Nation. Yeah.
Yes, where they actually did in the hollowed halls. But yeah, like just it's going to be a met. If we thought, or at least if I thought Zack Snyder's Justice League was a lot, like just overstimulation with visuals and noise and CGI bull, I am scared for what we're going to get out of this. We're going to get MODOK levels of CGI noise overloading our brains out of Infinity War or out of whatever war they want
But
to do.
he's not a dick.
He's not a dick. Isn't
But here's
this
the
so
thing, though. Here's
funny,
the difference,
guys?
though. Here's the difference, though. With the Snyder Cut,
Hit us.
though, the Snyder Cut actually had like a narrative going on. You had a story going on. It
I'll
took
give
a
him
long
that,
time, yeah, but you had a
I'll give him
story
that.
going on. And it, from what people were saying, like other people were saying, is that you had more compelling characters, like with Cyborg. Cyborg's story was very compelling. The Flash had beautiful moments there, especially at the end of the movie.
Yeah, his running moment.
Yeah, like there's those moments there that you won't see in this up based on what you guys believe. It's not going to be in this Avengers movie.
Well, it's funny you bring that, like you didn't bring it up, but it's funny we are discussing Snyder right now because I think that is how a movie with 60 characters that is setting up another movie has to go, right? I talk about his style of filmmaking all the time, which is, oh yeah, let's have them all smash and fight. Okay, cool, Zach. How do we get to the next scene? I don't know. They see a piece of paper on the ground and it reminds them of their childhood friend, and that childhood friend happens to share the same name as the person they're fighting, so they whisper it out. Like, that's how Zach writes, and that's how you're going to have to do this movie. It's just going to be the main motivating, like the main plot is we got to recruit all these heroes, but all of the conflict and actual story is just going to be hero versus hero fighting. Oh, who are you? You look bad. I don't know you. Wait, stop. We're supposed to be on the same side. Oh, okay. I'll listen to you, watcher. Let's go to the next person. Okay, let's go to the next person. And then once they get past the like big names, so you're like Andrew Garfield's or your Toby's or your Ben Affleck's, then you're gonna have your first class level, just like quick. You know, talk to what's his name? Who played Magneto? Michael Fassbender. You talk to Michael Fassbender, Michael Avoy, Lou Ferrigno. Again, you talk to Haley Steinfeld, who was Spider. Like, it's just going to be a lot of
you know what's gonna happen.
You know this. Blah blah blah.
In order to speed up the movie, they're just gonna have everyone say their dialogue all at the same time. So it's literally just gonna be like, break, and then just like goes on to the next.
And then if you buy the like DVD version, there are like 60 different cuts, and it's like, do you want to watch the Blade cut, the Hulk cut, and whichever one you listen to, that's the actual dialogue you get to hear
with director commentary on each one.
But like,
150,
which is just, please buy this, please buy this.
This is gonna be worse than Joss Whedon's Justice League.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because there's just no narrative connective tissue here. It is just going to be, do you remember this? Do you know this? you know this. Aren't you excited because you recognize this?
Yeah, there's
And
nothing genuine there. There's
like the
no
characters, yeah, there's no
connection with the characters like you did, like Snyder did
bingo.
in his like 6-hour movie. Like you got to connect with the characters. Like you got to understand how they felt. And yeah, you might not like Snyder's cinematic style at times, but like those moments though where you connect with the characters, you really felt it.
Right. And yeah, character moments don't happen anymore in these, not just like, yes, at Marvel, but like in Hollywood in general, or at least in big blockbusters, those character moments don't exist, but they want to keep tricking you and acting like they do. Again, that's what the Acolyte is. It is 100% buying into that idea of we're so deep. We're not just boy entertainment. We're super deep for intellectuals, and it's just like, get over yourself. Like, just why don't you get somebody who actually likes it, or
they have to realize. No, I mean, like I said, this is Disney. They don't learn. They don't learn. Like a normal person would have to realize at some point, it's like, look, we have to end this thing. Like, this isn't going to be like the forever gravy train we thought it was 5 years ago. Like we're gonna have to wrap this up at some point. But no, I'm pretty sure Feige's somewhere in his cave right now thinking up ideas for Phase 7 of the MCU. And here we go. Here's what you're going to get in 2032, folks.
Because I believe that's true. I don't even know how to set this one up because we do have something to blow up.
And rocket fire.
There we go. Call of Duty, we don't want it. Nobody really wants it. We're all tired. Yeah, why am I'm clearly overthinking things here when it's a simple fire would have done. We would be like, if we were an actual military ship, I'd be like that general who always tries to give like a Patton level like speech at the beginning, and our ship just completely keeps getting wrecked every single
it'll be like it'll be like the beginning of like The Last Jedi where they're all just monologuing in space and somebody just goes, "Oh my god, you cheat them already!"
yes. Boom.
Yeah, Jacob's the Poe Dameron that comes in like, what are we doing about this?
What are we doing? Why aren't you doing it? Do it now.
Somebody hit somebody.
Oh man. Good blow up. All right, let's see. It is 8:20. Do we have anything else we want to talk about? I know we spent a lot of time on the Acolyte and bashing that, but I don't know, Nerdigans, Cider, Jacob, anything you guys wanted to bring up?
Talk about Recess for a little bit and about like the failed pilot.
We can definitely talk about the failed Recess pitch. Absolutely.
Where is that on this website?
It is definitely on our website.
And you sent Cider the PDF, right? That we went over, Jacob.
Actually, I did not, but I can pop it up here for a second.
Yeah, because they deleted it from the intense backlash. That
I think we'll just do like a condensed breakdown of this because I don't want to lag off for too long. But essentially, it was discovered that Disney was planning for a reboot of the Disney show Recess. So Recess was an animated show from like 97 to 2001 in that time frame, and it was a pretty successful show. People really, really liked it. And then about 5 years ago, there was plans to do a reboot on a Disney platform. Obviously, they didn't have Disney Plus yet, so there was like a little bit of a delay. Disney Plus finally got on the ground. Then I guess there was a plan in order to put the show on Disney Plus. They had made like a complete show Bible about this whole thing where they broke down how everything was going to be set up, how the characters were going to work and everything like that. And then it's an absolute disaster. It is like the worst woke reboot you could possibly think of. And I think the only reason why it didn't happen, and we kind of discovered this over the last couple of days, is that this was around the same time that Bob Chapek had got his revolt with his Disney employees because he didn't want to go to war with Ron DeSantis and everyone turned on him. And then a few months later, Bob Iger rejoined Disney, and then this whole project essentially died here. So, but basically, they were going to use this as a plan, I guess, as a show that was supposed to be aimed at kids, but it was all about preaching global warming and Me Too, Black Lives Matter, and LGBTQ stuff and
Like
whatever.
that is the main core of their like opening pitch paragraph.
But the thing I thought that was weird. If you look at the then and now paragraph, it's like the then, like it's basically timeless, literally timeless. Then you look at the now, and it's like, dude, you're minus the activism. It's literally just about the same thing.
Yeah, so here's what they ended up doing. This is supposed to be a show that was set at least, I don't know, 20 years in the future, somewhere in that time frame. It was all going to be about the new kids, and the new kids part really isn't like that important, because obviously everyone wants to know what they're going to do with like the old kids. And here's essentially the rundown of how they were going to present everyone. TJ was going to be essentially a burnout who somehow had a tech idea that blew up. He became a millionaire, yet he's still a burnout. So he's just a lonely waste of a human being who's like still trying to quote unquote find himself, according to like the show Bible. And then he tried to get with Spinelli at one point, but Spinelli went from, I'm not even making this up, went from a art student teacher to going from art school to being in a lesbian band to being not into guys for a while. Then when the lesbian band didn't pan out, she went to the police academy. Then she realized that she's too good to be a cop, so she decided to be a lawyer instead. And now she's married to Vince, who's the black guy, by the way. And then Vince was a former college basketball player who won his division, even though they don't have those in college basketball. He tried to go to the NBA, but he wasn't tall enough.
Yeah, that's a college football thing.
Are you
right?
kidding me?
Soccer, like division.
No, that's literally written in the show Bible. He was not tall enough to play in the NBA.
Dennis Rodman would like a word.
Like how short is he, right? Because it's like, is he like 5'6"? Because there's a lot of 5'11" guys in the NBA who are playing right now who are pretty good. I mean, Chris Paul is a prime example of someone who's not 6 foot yet can still play basketball. So the whole idea that he's just too short, he's not 6'9", so he can't be a basketball player. Like someone clearly doesn't know like what the hell they're doing.
Written by a woman.
So now he just becomes like.
But the thing is with Spinelli and TJ that was really what one of the things that really set the fandom off, because everyone knew that Spinelli wanted to get with TJ, and then after the Kiss episode happened, you knew TJ was getting some feelings for Spinelli, so that ship was going to happen, period. And then not getting Spinelli getting
subversion.
No, in the show Bible, it literally says they are subverting your expectations. They use the line verbatim.
It says like the exact quote.
But the other thing is, though, and this is where I got confused, is like, dude, you would think, because Spinelli is Latina, TJ is white, you would get mixed. You would have a mixed couple.
Doesn't matter. You can't show the white character having anything positive. That's why TJ gets straight up like Jake Skywalker. He gets it bad.
Exactly. Yeah. Every popular white guy who was the lead in any show from 30 years ago has to become a hobo. That's his starting point every single time.
He's technically rich, but like he's just.
I feel like that was a caveat so they wouldn't like completely disrespect the character, because if he was broke and everything else happened to him, they'd just be pissing all over him at that point. Yeah. But Gretchen becomes a super genius scientist. They literally wrote on the show Bible, think Jessica Chastain in The Martian. That was their go rate for Gretchen. Mikey's fate is pretty rough. Mikey becomes some kind of like opera singer, goes to India, gets COVID, and dies.
Like the opera singer stuff fits, because that Mikey was like basically the opera singer in the show. He had the talent, but the India stuff was like just so random, and that's something, again, the subverting expectations.
It's so funny,
but like
it's
a good
funny bad.
Like, thing, though, Spencer, that was the thing though. Like a good chunk of these bios, like the first part would be like, except maybe for Spinelli's, like a good chunk of them were like, yes, this fits, but then after that's like, no, what is this? This don't make sense.
Because it's subversion.
Like, oh no, this fits. Subvert.
That's every single one of those is we want to subvert what you think is going to happen. So a little bit of it happens, but then no, it doesn't. Like that's every one of those.
I want to tell you that this is all on purpose. That they sat down and they said, we got to work agenda everywhere. We got to make this white kid look terrible. We got to make sure that the black kid's really cool, but he's not cool enough to get in the NBA because we don't like men. No. I'm sorry.
Oh, just wait till you read Gus's.
The last one.
For Gus, like that would have been perfect for him.
So, like I said, Mikey goes to India for some reason, gets COVID and dies. So he's dead. He's not even in the group anymore. Then you have Gus, who finally goes to the army and becomes, the head honcho, lieutenant colonel, and all this good stuff. Finally lives up to his dad's expectation, and then decides, you know what, I'm trans now. My name is Nikki, and I'm going to become the face of the trans military. And that's what they do with Gus, literally turn him into a woman. Right. And this is how we were supposed to set up this entire reboot, this universe here. So like I said, the only reason why this did not get off the ground is because when Iger came over, a lot of projects got lost in the shuffle and this one died. But somebody had mentioned it earlier too. I think it may have been Leslie or maybe RJ saying that this was basically going to be exactly like the Proud Family reboot, but somehow even worse.
Worse. Somehow.
This is what it is that I wanted, like I said, I want to tell you this is all done on purpose, but what this is fan fiction.
Right.
Right. And now I want to listen to what they did. The guy characters they didn't like are either dead, gone, or just not guys anymore. The girl characters have all become superheroes. They have ascended to a level of even beyond a male's capability by their own fictitious definition of patriarchy, okay? They have become gods as far as their capabilities, all right?
Hey, notice it just real quick, and I'll let you go. Yep. All of the men in the series went through some kind of extra existential crisis / struggle. None of the women went through any adversity whatsoever.
They all just won.
And the men lost all their battles.
Yep.
The Gus became a girl. Mikey's dead.
TJ's all failed. And sad. Yeah.
Yep. And that's what it is. So the whole situation you have now with this story is it's fan fiction. Someone probably wrote this back in 2006 and just kept adding chapters to it. The whole thing's probably on Archive of Our Own. That's the thing. As I'm listening to this, I'm like, no. This is a fan fiction. This is someone sitting down and exercising their adult fetishes on a children's property.
They do that a lot on Tumblr. Let's be real.
And that's it is. It's a Tumblr fan.
They're using they want to use this for validating their own worldview. It's not about teaching lessons that everybody can walk away with. It's not about entertaining.
Children.
It's about it's not about them. It's about are we performing the right way? Are we making the right zeitgeist material that our side is going to want? It's bad, but it is the grave they have dug. That's the standard they set with all of their nonsense. And that's now that's all they can do. Now it's all they can do is check the boxes and say, please clap. Please clap for me checking the boxes. I did what you wanted. Why don't you like me yet?
Remember what recess is supposed to be. Like, you're supposed to be able to see yourself in these characters. Like what Jacob was saying yesterday, and on Saturday when we talked about it, is that like in the case of with Gus in particular, because he was on the battlefield and he was struggling to adjust to obviously civilian life. You could have had people look up to Gus in that regard, because kids obviously saw themselves in Gus growing up because they were trying to meet their father's expectations. You could have had the next generation look up to Gus as they've seen their father come back from the military and they're adjusting, or people our age coming back from overseas and see themselves in Gus.
It's a story that
having trouble too.
It's a story that's been told many times before and it would work. It's like, Gus went through his entire life trying to win his father's approval, gets into the military, finds out that he's good in the military. That's the only place where he really feels like himself. But like so many people in the service, once they get out of the military, they go back to civilian life. They don't know what to do with themselves. They don't feel the same. It's like, wasn't that the whole, remember the film The Hurt Locker with Jeremy Renner? That was the whole plot of his
That was the whole point of that.
He loved going overseas and risking his life being a bomb detonator. And then the next thing you know, he's just in a grocery store. He doesn't know what the hell to do with himself. It's like, what the hell is his life?
It would have been because the show is supposed to be continuation. It would have continued Gus's arc perfectly.
Yeah. But nope,
It's just
he
sad.
has to be Chelsea Manning, so that's what we're gonna turn him
It
into.
literally is Chelsea Manning. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like it's so on the nose. It's not even clever.
So, yeah, one thing that you guys can take away from tonight, it says that Disney just keeps hitting those home runs.
Keep hitting those home runs, Disney.
Well, the other thing though that's very interesting is this was pitched like in 2019, and among those were like a bunch of reboots, and I think that was around the time Proud Family was being pitched too, right?
Yeah.
But
Proud Family was probably further in
Probably.
development, which is why it got greenlit and this one didn't.
But one of the other ones that was greenlit was the Darkwing Duck reboot. I don't know if it was the DuckTales reboot team that was working on it, but like ever since I want to say like maybe 2016 or 27, maybe like around 2017 was when Disney's quality went down, and the DuckTales reboot was like the last good show that came out in terms of like a reboot. But it's just so interesting to see how far things have gone downhill since then, isn't it?
Yeah, and keep in mind there was also a plan in 2019 to move forward with a Doug reboot too. So imagine everything they did to Recess and the Proud Family, and just think for 1 second they almost did this with Doug as well.
Yeah, I remember hearing about the Doug one. That was scary to me because I really enjoyed Doug when I was little. I had no association with it whatsoever. I had no idea what even what the Beats were, because I'm from the country. Like the Beatles aren't a thing where I'm at. You know, Trace Adkins, Alan Jackson, you know, those guys, the country music singers are the ones that are popular around here. So like
Right.
I had no reference. So like IEO Killer Tofu was like really cool to me and
I
stuff
love
like
that.
that. So. Yeah, right. Now it's stuck in your head forever. You're welcome.
Yes,
But
it is.
the Doug reboot really scared me because as I was considering what they did with All Grown Up, right? Rugrats All Grown Up. Because at that point, that was the only reference point we had. They were talking about the early 2010s. They hadn't got into this what if child characters were fully grown up scenario yet. So far, Rugrats
the
All
first
Grown
one,
Up have been the only. So far, Rugrats All Grown Up have been the only one that had gone out and tried to take children characters and advance their age and try to make a new property out of it. And I don't know about you, but that creeped me out in every kind of way possible, especially when they started getting romantic with each other. And the only thing I could remember was Phil and Lil eating bugs all the time.
It was a very weird. That entire series was just odd to me. I remember like, yeah, it just didn't sit right that these were the same characters. I don't know. It felt very, very.
Tommy
very,
having
very,
hair
weird.
was just
Tommy
so
having hair
weird.
was weird. Chucky like actually having like moves with the ladies was super weird. I was like, I don't know what is happening with this show anymore. I'm gonna go watch anime because I'm just getting into this now, and it's great.
Yep.
But yeah,
All
I mean,
right.
are we surprised? I mean, that is the most surprising thing about this is that it didn't go anywhere. That is legitimately the most surprising thing to me because it has the classic staples of everything Disney wants to do nowadays.
Yep.
Like the most controversial thing there that maybe Disney might have put their foot down on was Gus being trans, but everything else is 100% lined up with everything they do. Jake Skywalkering the main character, the women characters have everything going for them and nothing really goes wrong. Again, like they don't even understand basketball. There are no divisions. That's so insane to me. That's a football thing. That's maybe a soccer thing. It's not
And for them to say
thing.
like, "Oh, he's too short to be in the NBA," like
it makes no sense.
Have you never heard of Muggsy Bogues?
Right? Why not go for the easier one or the easier, more believable explanation and be like, "Oh, he got like an injury and you know he tore his ACL. He had to go. Oh no, blah 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 blah." You didn't have to do this really weird privilege. Again, that's just going to be another angle for them to go like, oh, don't have tall privilege or whatever the hell. Like it's everything in this. None of it feels like it was designed for creativity or for entertainment or because you had a genuine idea for the characters themselves, but because you wanted a platform with which to propagandize, or not even propagandize, it's validating your own beliefs. Kids don't care about all that stuff. They want to see the fantastical jungle gyms of Recess where there's like a hierarchy and a king and all that stuff.
kids don't care about that, but they were trying to use this show to propagate kids into LGBTQ, Black Lives Matter, climate change,
Right.
whatever left-wing issues they could possibly get. Same thing they did with Proud Family. It's like, yeah, let's make a show about the kids where the white girl needs to understand that if her boyfriend is black and he doesn't date black girls, then the white girl needs to break up with her because she's going to make her black girlfriends feel bad about themselves. It was like, who the age of like 8 cares about any of this.
or like slavery reparations, right? Like that was an entire episode, and it's like
we want reparations for slavery. It's like you were born like 5 years ago. Shut up.
And also, like, has your core audience even gone through their slavery history lessons yet? Like, you're just throwing them into the deep end before even trying to work with them on like what you have in front of you.
No,
but yeah, like I said, the most surprising thing is that it didn't happen because this is Disney. This is everything Disney wants to do. So, and I think Nerdigans maybe mentioned it at the very beginning. This was done by the actual show creators.
Yeah.
So like this wasn't even like
same with Proud Family. Proud Family is the same thing. But the thing I think is very interesting. Something that it's very interesting because you had same thing happen with Percy Jackson. You had the author there too, but there were still check boxes that needed to be checked. You had to have a black girl, as one of the main characters. Grover was basically changed too, race-wise. There were so many race swaps when the series is already diverse. Recess is diverse as well. They changed it anyway. It's so weird what Disney is doing over there. You're trying to make it's one of those anti-racist things where you're trying to be anti-racist and but you end up being racist in the long run, if that makes sense.
No, again, this stuff isn't when they say we want a diverse show, we want an inclusive show, we want a socially conscious show. They're not talking to us or to the production studios or anything. They are talking to themselves and their own, like those people who still believe in them. All of this stuff is made because it allows them to go, look at me. This is me. I'm doing it right. Like I am on your side. I am doing correct politic. And that to them is all that matters nowadays. It's all that matters because of all the, otherwise the propaganda, just, I mean, it's a way bigger topic, but like just the general societal propaganda of like, you have to fight everything. Everybody hates you. You always have to be virtue signaling no matter what you believe in, whether it's a right-leaning thing or a left-leaning thing. Like it's all bad. And to that I say, reject it. Go watch Super Sentai. It is completely free on Shout Factory. Shout Factory right now has 4 channels where they're one channel. Huh?
Tokushoutsu is the name.
Yeah, Tokushoutsu. They got an Ultraman channel, a Sentai channel, a Kamen Rider channel, a Godzilla channel. I literally last night tuned in and I watched an episode of I think it was Die Ranger, where it's a full-on parody of Star Wars. Like the Red Ranger learns that the evil bad guy with a sword clad in black is his father who left him. The father's like evil bad guy boss is this old man who shoots lightning from his hands, who he has to stop from killing his son. They even have like a legally distinct Imperial March play when he shows up. Like there's still fun to be had out there. You don't need the Acolyte. You don't need Recess reboots. You're going to have to go in the past because nothing new is coming out, but it's there. And I definitely recommend everybody jump on that.
Well, there's also, but I mentioned this before the stream started. I was talking to Cider about this. Something I found recently was that, and this is surprisingly on Disney's, Disney's end, is that they're actually leaving, the localizers are leaving the Japanese jokes in the anime localizations. If you've been watching Ranger Rejects anime in particular, and I think the Fable as well, that's where I was hearing through the grapevine, they've been leaving the Japanese jokes untranslated in the subtitles, English subtitles, which is very, very rare to see in anime localization nowadays. Especially like when you're thinking it's coming from Disney, like of all places. So I don't know who's doing the localizations. I know like there's some that are on well, it's Hulu in the US. I know that like Bleach, for example, is being localized by Viz. So like yeah, there's still some stuff localized by Viz that's on Hulu/Disney, but I don't know about the rest. But I just think that's very interesting on how things are changing on Disney's end in terms of localization, but that's Disney Japan and not Disney US, so it's a little different.
Yeah, it's definitely something to watch out for. But if you're not willing to wait for Disney to hop on the train, there is definitely stuff out there to watch. Like
oh yeah.
I'm just talking. I wanted to bring up.
You're just talking about like mainly like Western stuff. You're mainly talking about Western stuff in general. There's like plenty of stuff to watch, and also the channel, the Takotsu channel, I mentioned it earlier as well. It is on Pluto TV as well. So if you don't want to watch it on YouTube, it's on Pluto TV.
Like I ranted about last week. You kids these days have it so easy with your media access and your translated television shows from Japan. Gosh darn it. But yeah, I think with that little with that discussion on Recess and that recommendation of Die Rangers, I think that's probably a great point to cut our show, to call it a night. As always, I want to thank everybody for showing up, for hanging out with us on Wednesdays. We couldn't do it without you. Before we get out of here, as always, I will let everybody here let you know what they've got going on, starting, of course, with my good friend Jakub. What's going on, Jacob?
Yeah, so we got some things coming up. Obviously, tomorrow I'll be checking out the Bad Boys movie, so that review will be up on the YouTube channel for Bounding soon. Also, the written review. Got a couple of things. Got a lot of movies to catch up on this weekend. But Friday night on my channel on Society Reviews, me, Rick, Rob, and a couple other people are going to be talking about the best and worst movies so far in 2024. It's been a rough year, so it's been very, very hard to find good movies, but I think I've narrowed it down to at least 5 so far at the early part of this year. Sunday will be part 2 of our Pride Month series on the Bible Lens podcast. We're going to talk about the demonic origins of the transgender movement, because a lot of people don't know that when it comes to a lot of aspects of transgenderism that is popular today, they all paint back from some kind of demonic origin of pagan worship. We'll talk about exactly the type of gods that were being worshipped through this movement on Sunday. That's at 7 p.m. Then, of course, we got the Barroom episode 103 will be out on Tuesday. Go watch last night's episode. We talked a lot about the stuff. Some of the stuff we talked about on here went in much greater detail. So go check out all that. That's what we got coming up here. So that's all I got right now.
Awesome. And yeah, for people who want to check it out, the first episode of Jacob's what are you calling them? The Pride Month expose series, because you're doing it all month.
So the first episode was last Sunday, and that was talking about the origins of Sodom and Gomorrah, and essentially why God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah in the first place, because there's obviously a lot of people don't understand what was actually going on there. So if you really want to go in depth into why that place was smited, go check out part 1. That was last Sunday. So
yeah, no, it's interesting reading. Like, again, even if you're like me, I say it all the time. If you're like me and you're secular, it's still like you can learn a lot from like what he talks about. I enjoy the show, obviously. What am I talking about? Before I keep embarrassing myself, Nerdigans, what have you got? Tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Nerdigans Inc., where I cover anime and manga content every day. Also follow me on Twitter. And I've been documenting stuff for Pride, and something I'm going to be looking into, I didn't realize how bad it was getting, is last chapter, or I should say yesterday's chapter of Chainsaw Man has really rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, because there was actually sexual assault. I'm going to go through some of these, some of the tweets to see if there are any death threats towards Fujimoto. I do love when a manga gatekeeps itself. I freaking love it. But yeah, I'm going to go through some of those tweets and see if there's any death threats going on. But the other thing I'm going to do is, because the Amato Viva card was translated again by Library of O.R.C.A, because they got the official Viva cards in. So usually that's when they document it for their website. So and that started, of course, the Trans Yamato discourse again. So we'll see if there's any death threats towards Oda again. Oh God, it'd be like what, the third or fourth time now over this? I think it'd be like what would you say, Spencer?
Why are you asking us? You're our anime expert. But no, it'll be like, I know, I'm kidding. I'm making a joke. It's like 5 or 6 at this point.
Oh,
like it's getting up there.
It's getting ridiculous. These people, and it's only on Twitter this is happening. It's not happening on the One Piece Reddit. But anyways, I'm
actually surprised about that.
I know, I was surprised too. But anyways, other than that, I'm going to keep looking around, of course, for more anime and manga stories to cover for Bounding into Comics. And I'll probably be on Barroom for Jacob next week. So, and also say hi to the people, Zeno. There you go.
And there's Zeno. Awesome. Yeah, check out all of her stuff. Obviously, she's our anime girl. She knows what she's talking about. If you want to get into the weebery, there's no better place to start than with her. I think I've said this before, and I'll say it every time. Every time she's recommended a manga to me, it's always turned out to be like one of my favorites. So check out her content, check out her recs. It's always a good time. Cider, what do you got for the people? What are you working on back there?
Just tune into the Bounding into Comics channel. We're going to continue covering the Acolyte this week and the mess that's going on with that. Brace yourselves. There's still the force birthing scene that we talked about earlier to come. So, yeah, tune in and find out. If you aren't already subscribed, consider it. And also, feel free to join along and become part of the O.R.C.A crew. There's a button down below that says join for just as little as 99 cents per month. You can become a member of the O.R.C.A crew and be featured in the outro that we have tonight.
Force Cops.
Force Cops. Yeah, that's us. We're Force Cops.
What you gonna do when they lightsaber you?
Nothing, apparently, because lightsabers don't matter anymore. We know this.
They don't even hurt.
Just two stormtroopers riding around in a DeLorean talking about their day.
In a DeLorean, yes. In the DeLorean.
Better than anything they've produced in the last like 10, 20 years, ever since they acquired the license. Again,
they're just running around after petty thieves all day.
Yeah.
They're going around.
Maybe they don't even do anything.
In a police themed Mr. Coffee DeLorean eating Good Burger.
Yep.
Perfect. Like this, hire us, Marvel. We've already made a better show, or Disney. We've already made a better show than what you have going
Marvel,
on.
hire us to make the new Star Wars show. It makes as much sense as what you're putting out right now.
No, the sad part is that it would be the most popular Star Wars property that they do, and they cancel us in like 2 seasons.
I was going to say it would get amazing ratings. We would get the Netflix like aired yesterday, canceled today announcement. Like that's how fast they would want us out of the building for showing them up. Again, it's their hubris. That's the number one thing that they can't stand. Hubris. All right. And then as for me, guys, with my messed up green screen back here that clearly fell down somewhere during the stream, as always, thank you guys for hanging out with us. Wednesday nights are extremely fun for all of us. We love hanging out with you. We love talking with you. Without your viewership, without your patronage, we wouldn't be able to do this. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. As always, you're invited to hang out with us next week. Same bat time, same bat channel for another episode of the 01 stream here at Bounding into Comics, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Obviously, we'll be breaking down the Acolyte. Next week is episode 3, so we'll get to see what Alan Ng and Chris Gore and all the other previewers are warning is going to put the final nail in Star Wars' coffin. So next week will probably be a really just an insane show. So, of course, come back for that. As always, check out the YouTube channel every day. Hit that like button, that notification button, that subscribe button. Cider's putting up great stuff every day, both him and Jacob, whether Jacob's doing reviews or Cider's doing news. All follow Nerdigans on all of her stuff. She's got great anime hookups. She's got great anime news. She's doing great of sort of keeping a watchdog approach to all of our cultural spheres. As for me, you can find me on Bounding into Comics every day, where we're uploading news stories around the clock. You can check me out on Twitter at Kabuto Writer Mav. You can also check me out Fridays on my own YouTube channel, Studio Kabuto, where at 5 p.m. I host The Good, the Mad, the Ugly, a live stream where we sort of just hang out. I talk to you guys. We do deeper dives into some subjects. No Star Wars ever, just not happening over there. If that sounds like it's something up your alley, come on and hang out. Until then, yeah, have a fantastic week. We will probably all see you soon. And go do something better with your time than watching The Acolyte. Until then, take it easy.
See ya.
Go! track.